Justin Westhoff in game number 1, and he has kicked goal number 1.
Searing hand pass on the bounce to the pocket. Westhoff! Westhoff! Remarkable goal, his third.
Westhoff! He's having a night out. Westhoff. Party trick.
Lead winds.
The goals of the year.
Westhoff! Oh, how did he do that?
Yes, quite appropriate, the last goal there. Wines to Westhoff, the boy from the Barossa Valley. And 29 years of age in his 200th game. He's been a super player, the laconic Justin Westhoff. Good luck to him today. Best first-year player back in 2007. Made his debut in round 10 against Hawthorn. Picked 71 in the 2006 draft. Somebody got it right at Port Adelaide from Central District. He's been a super player and he's running through the banner with his family now, and he has been a real stalwart for this side, the Port Adelaide Football Club. Much loved player. Players and the fans and officials all alike just love what Justin Westhoff does in his career. Number 39, just wonderful to see his wife and his 3 kids there. Great stuff. He'll go and play a great game with the old Ned Kelly beard. He had it on the old chin there before it was fashionable. I don't think he's a hipster, Justin Westhoff. He just loves having a good bushy beard. Anyway, big game today, and let's have a look at the Port Adelaide side. This game at the SCG. One change, Tompus has been omitted, Jimmy Tompus, and Charlie Dixon comes in, so some firepower coming in to help Justin Westhoff up forward. It's a good-looking side, that one, the Port Adelaide team. They're a bit disappointed that they're not going to play finals football. They win today, they've got some sort of mathematical chance, but they would really like to finish off their season on a big note. And you look at that side, plenty of big names there. Always love seeing Chad Wingard. Good half-forward line with Impey on the other side of Dixon. Butcher, if he can get on target, can be dangerous. Westhoff, we know, is a star. So they've got plenty of firepower up forward and a ripping midfield. So they could pose a problem for the Sydney Swans side today. However, the Sydney Swans coming out for the second week in a row, unchanged on the SCG. Got everything happening for them, celebrating QBE as the sponsor of the club for 30 years. So well done to QBE for being a staunch supporter of not only the Sydney Swans but AFL football, and they should rightly be identified for their wonderful support. Let's have a look at this side, really building now towards running at the premiership in 2016. It's not about making the top 4 now. They really want to get stuck into it and get the home final, have the easy passage through, get that week off in the preliminary final round. So they have got their side in, and it is looking like a very, very good side. Wonderful midfield, all the firepower in the world up in the forward line, of course, and well, Buddy Franklin at centre half forward on the SCG. We've seen how much he loves it. Good to see Isaac Heaney coming back into some form in recent times as well, after having a couple of weeks off. So Justin Westhoff out there with Kieran Jack. Kieran Jack, the captain of the Sydney Swans. Justin in his 200th game as we get the toss of the coin. And it has been won by... No, we're going to have a second go here. All right, it wouldn't happen at 2-up school, that one. You wouldn't get a second go at it, but Justin Westhoff wins the toss and laconically goes to the left of screen. All right, let's go to the SCG now. Some live picks as we get ready for what is going to be a great game, too, of the big clubs in AFL football. Not a huge crowd, as you can see there. Not a massive travelling side, the Port Adelaide team. But we're ready to go as Justin Westhoff runs or walks back into possession. Charlie Dixon. So let's go. It's Sydney and Port Adelaide at the SCG.
Swans fighting for the top 4. Port Adelaide looking to keep their faint finals hopes alive. And here's Mark Soderstrom to get us underway.
Jackson Trengove coming off a huge game last week against Brisbane with the clearance off the ground. Aliir at half-back, kicked to Towers, picked up nicely, half volley, handball over the top. Opportunity now for the Swans to go into 50. Boak, just a smother off Parker. Back to Ebert, been in the wars the last few weeks. Aaron Young, what a transformation he's had this year. Hanbury, Jack over the top, Aliir again, a couple of early touches, just settling the nerves, and what a terrific start he's made to his career, the Sudanese refugee. Long kick, Heaney, one-on-one, brought to the front, tackle down now on Robbie Gray. Heaney butters up well.
Boys, Tom Cleary's got the job on Lance Franklin as expected, and he's certainly looking to move him up and around the ground. And at the other end, you see Nick Smith, he's lining up on Jarman Impey at the moment.
Line. Effective tap, lays a tackle on Kennedy, but Port have the football. Wingard under some pressure. All there to be won on the outer side. Alear taken down by Robbie Gray. Wines tried to feed it to Wingard, but it was taken by Parker. High kick up and under. Kennedy has to wait underneath it. Immediately confronted by Cracker. Somehow finds a space to feed it through to Wingard. Quickly to Ebert, but his kick partly smothered, and it's taken by Naismith, who pumps it deep inside 50. It's a 2-on-2 contest. Opportunity at the back for Richards. Dribbles it along the ground as Xavier Richards, but misses the lot. The younger brother of Ted, who announced during the week that this will be his final season, Ted Richards. He's hoping to play at least a game with Xavier between now and the end of the season.
Trent Gove looking for Ebert. Kennedy coming through, can't take it. Ebert again, now wrapped up by Jack.
Going to be a great battle there between Trent Gove and also Naismith. Just moved Naismith off the ball too easily on that first occasion.
Naismith wins this one. Ebert again. One-on-one with Hanbury. Heaney trying to work his way through. Mitchell goes back. A little bit of space from Buddy on the left. And great start for the Swans. They draw first blood.
Buddy on the board with the opening goal of the contest. Just a couple of minutes in, and once again we see how good the Swans are in tight. They're so dangerous with stoppages inside their own 50.
Well, it's 3-0 already, the stoppages, and that's the area that Port Adelaide would have concentrated on all week. We know how deep this midfield is for the Sydney Swans. They play great, aggressive inside football. You've got to at least match them in that department.
Yeah, that one was okay, but it's getting close, right?
Just watch that scrimmage again, and there's Tom Mitchell getting that clever handball to Buddy on the outside. The dangerous, lethal left foot of Buddy Franklin. Off to a great start.
Naismith in the ruck got the tap, but it's taken by Gray. Tracking backwards to Burn Jones. Gets his kick away despite the pressure from Heaney. Towards half forward. Rampy comes charging out. Couldn't take it. He's young. Pirouettes to get away from Cunningham. Bounces a kick inside 50. It's an awkward one at the back. Grundy under pressure. Sweeping in is Dixon. He can't pass through. Umpire says he put it down on the ground, dropping the ball. Free kick to Rampy.
Just watch it again. Umpire saying incorrect disposal, just putting the ball on the ground. Correct decision. What a wonderful year Rampy's had. All Australian type small defender.
To Heaney, good strong hands. Marks out in front of his face, in front of Nathan Cracker. Kick towards the wing on the bounce, taken by Richards cleanly. Turns, looks up, wants to put it in front of Rowan. He's got Franklin to the outside. He'll go inside. Opens up the angle. Got a couple of men tracking goalwards. Towers in front on contact, and Dean Towers will go back from directly in front, 15 metres out.
Well, he burnt Buddy first time out by not giving the handball, but that was a beautifully directed kick there by Rowan.
Almost dictated where the players led to, didn't he?
There was only one player there that was going to be able to mark that ball, and it would have been just infringing in the attempt to spoil.
So Dean Towers playing his 7th straight. It's his longest stretch of AFL football. And he kicks his set. He first for the afternoon. The Swans have got the opening 2. So Dean Towers, another one of these Sydney players who have just managed to work their way into what's been a tough side to get into, Tim, but he's playing his role and playing it effectively.
You know, the great thing about Sydney, and they've been doing this for a decade now, is the way that they groom the players at the lower level, so that by the time they step up, they're ready to play their role. They know exactly what it is that's required of them to play Swans footy.
And here we see Gary Rowan just play on. He just made sure he just went around Buddy, but put that to a great space. And the infringement from Broadbent on Dean Towers. He's been in very good form, Dean Towers, 26 and 2 last week.
Towers with his 10th goal of the season. Kennedy going in hard again. Burn Jones with the mop of hair has been one of the shining lights for Port Adelaide this season.
Holding the footy,
and he's been pinged despite Robbie Gray pleading with the umpire for a free kick Port Adelaide's way. Opportunity now, Swans, what a start. 2 straight goals to get underway. Top of the square, fly. Rowan couldn't take it, Jack. Papley just overruns it, then provides some support for Jack. Here's Hewitt from 48, goes top of the square. Dixon comes in, kills the contest. Parker works his way around, tries to dodge and weave. Papley. Back to Mitchell. Here's Hewitt with the snap on the right. Dangerous proposition for Port Adelaide. Bounces top of the square. Nankervis in there. Heaney just with the push. He's going to get to it first. He's got to negotiate his way around Impey. The don't argue from Grundy, and Impey clears it for Port. Out of trouble.
Wide open space, and it's going to be Lloyd that'll track it back. Has time to look up and assess his options. He'll kick it long back towards the 50. Heaney's there, happily at ground level, but it's taken by Broadbent. Touched off the boot of Cracker. It slips over and out.
Just a bit of issue with Gary Rowan coming off limping at the moment, fellas. Just copped a good one, very much a cork in the buttock.
So there he is trying to run it out on the boundary line. Tringove and Nankervis. Gray had it for a moment, goes back and gets it in one motion, delivered it to Wingard, but his handball was too hot for Boak. Again, got Naismith in there over the top. Scrappy early, but we expected that. Impey. Quick hands, intercepted. McVeigh couldn't take it cleanly. He tries to get it to Gray, who collects Heaney high. And a chance for Isaac Heaney, who's been prominent early. Is that hit up mid-size forward?
Just been out-hunted at the moment, Port Adelaide too. 35 possessions so far, just a 22 Port Adelaide.
He goes inside 50. Nankervis is his target. Feeds it to Towers, who snaps towards goal. He's got Buddy in the square, and it bounces to the near side. Minor score to Dean Towers. They're looking so dangerous at the moment. Port Adelaide struggling to get the football into their half of the ground.
Yeah, the Sydney Swans are just owning the ball in the early part of this game. Port Adelaide not there with the right level of intensity or aggression yet.
Pittard with the kick out. Butcher was his target, couldn't complete the mark. Grundy's going to get first to it, enjoying a consistent year, as is fantastic defence of Sydney. Heaney close to the line, winds, spins his way out of trouble, gets away from Lloyd. Rampy and Alier can raffle it between them. Rampy decides down the line, just casually makes his way, waiting for a lead. Mark can't be completed by Naismith. Should have taken that one. Pollock and Broadbent along there. Trengove cleverly over the top to Pollock. Close to the line, out of bounds.
And one of the other things that you've got to do against Sydney is you've got to hold your form as forwards. We've seen the last two times they've actually kicked the ball forward, Port Adelaide. There hasn't been a forward at that part of the ground. They've all shuffled up the ground trying to be part of the midfield action. You've got to stay at home, because Sydney are actually staying at home with their defence. And that's where they're going to get enormous rebound.
Opening 8.5 minutes have been all Swans. Winds towards the 50. It's Rampy versus Butcher, and Rampy happy to take it to the line. And you mentioned Dane Rampy in his season. Umpire says deliberate.
Well, that's a win, because they actually had forwards at home then, Port Adelaide.
So the ball's with Butcher. Brings it inboard to Pollock. Was called to go. He's 70 from goal. He'll poke it towards Dixon on the lead. Couldn't quite. It was slapped away by Grundy. Boak at ground level. Paddles to the advantage of Pollock, who heads goalward once again, but he's missed the lot. Out of bounds on the full.
Now they've just got to push up here, Port Adelaide, and make it difficult for Sydney to move the ball from this deep defensive position.
So look at those kicking efficiency numbers. Port at the moment just going at 25%.
Hewitt and Sam Gray with the ball over the back, got a whistle, so free kick.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, that was a lack of concentration too. There was an extra Sydney Swans player almost on the goal line there for them to switch the play. They had the other side of the ground blocked, but they've just got to block all exits, Port Adelaide. Get this game being played in their own half for a period of time. Put some pressure on the Sydney defence.
Hewitt, one of 7 debutants, goes back to Smith, to Alier. Another of the debutants this year, just settled in to play football. Amazing, considering only picked the footy up when he was 16 years of age. Goes to Heaney, chip over the top. He's got Mitchell. Terrific kick. He's going to hold.
Yours.
Up. Target was Nankervis. Couldn't take it. Quick little kick off the ground. Came from Pittard. Hanbury. Little tunnel ball. Out to Nankervis. His Towers already a goal kicker. To Kennedy. In close. Works his way around Boak. And free kick, Papley.
Come on. Come on. Randy, camera off your line.
Some of the Port Adelaide players disputing this umpire's decision. Just watch it again. Yep, they're right too. That was a head throw back from Papley. And really, he was only grabbed at shoulder height. Just watch that again. That was just his arm.
Jared, 15 gone. Out 5 metres.
It's about throwing your head back.
Tom Papley draws that well.
Exaggerating it.
Second way, please.
Comes from good stock too. His grandfathers, Jeff Bray and Max Papley, were teammates at South Melbourne back in the 60s. From 48, Papley misses to the left.
You don't want to get a reputation for that. He's only a young man playing his first year of AFL football, but what he did then is not something that should be encouraged.
So
Tim Gary Rowan's looking like he'll enter the game again. His right hip's a bit sore.
Pittard's kick's picked off. Canterbury has it. The Swans will go inside 50 once again. He's got Franklin in the pocket with a couple to beat. He wins it at ground level with strength. There's a chance for Eamon, who slaps to the advantage of Sam Gray and then receives it back. Got nothing at all to kick to, so he's just going to have to go for space, which he does, but it's going to come back because the man who cleans up across half-back for Sydney, Dane Rampey, will do it once again. He's got men lining up in the middle. There were 4 of them, and one of them is Tom Mitchell.
Play on.
Mitchell can swing it further wide to Aaliyah on the far wing. Aaliyah will play on, steps around Ebert, goes towards 50 and hits Towers, who drops a sitter. It's slapped away by Gray. McVeigh at ground level committed the body. Here's a chance now for Lloyd. Lloyd feeds it back to Grundy. Grundy inside 50 once again. Heaney up in front. Juggles it. Doesn't quite bring it down. Trengove goes in to wrap it up.
Cracker had conceded then too.
A couple of opportunities inside 50 once again for the Swans go begging. This one from Heaney, whose hands are normally exceptional. He's a little bit slippery out there. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt as Jack tries to bust through the tackle. Can't do so. Smothered off the boot of Westhoff. Gray's going to be wrapped up by Richards. Stewart under pressure from Franklin. Comes through as Towers. Papley bumped off it just as he was about to pull the trigger. And Pittard off his last line just hacks it out of there. Port defence under enormous pressure. Aim and a fumble. Kennedy wins the football. Goes back towards the top of the goal square, but it's all Port. Drop mark by Stewart. Now they're under some more pressure. Heaney picks it up. Left foot snap. Pittard again. Eamon. Eventually. Do they get it out? Not quite. You know what? Oh, goodness. And
there was nowhere to go.
Takes it out.
I mean, there's a lot of pressure being applied by the Sydney Swans, but if you look further afield from where the ball was, there were no clear exits then for Port Adelaide. They've just got to reset themselves. They've just lost their form at the moment.
14 points. Trengove, little kick from Polek. Scrambles it out. Opportunity for the Swans. Heaney leads Stewart to the ball. Hanbury down. Heaney again. Can't get his kick out. Smothered. Stewart. Just need a clean passage of play. Error riddled at the moment. This last couple of minutes. Wingard to Amon, and he's been pinged. Free kick, Sydney.
Well, Amon looked up then, and there were 2 Sydney players just further afield on their own, so he just had to stall, and then he obviously got caught.
Far from pretty at the moment until that kick was good. So we've got Hanbury outside 50. Tough kick from here. Would take his best effort. Probably too far, Tim.
No, he's outside his range here.
Top of the square. Big fly. Can't be taken. Little give. Mitchell hurried on the left. And he nails it. The Swans have got 3.
But there's only so much a defensive unit can do. If you get those repeat entries, then eventually the damn wall is going to break, and that's exactly what they did. They just shot the ball back in there to a dangerous part of the ground. They got the crumb. But they really have to fix their structure up, Port Adelaide, at the moment, because they're going nowhere from the defensive part of the ground. Sydney just setting up behind the ball in numbers. It's like hitting a tennis ball against a wall.
Straight back. Straight back.
We spoke about the significance of the contested possessions, Tim. They're almost identical. It's the uncontested at the moment. Sydney 41, Port 16. When Sydney get it and break away, they use it. Port's got nowhere to go.
This is going to be their best chance from a centre bounce. But again, Sydney win the ball.
Hanbury goes towards Heaney at 50. Off the hands of the contest. Richards to Rowan. 45 metres out. He bends it back and kicks another. So Rowan hits the scoreboard. And as you said, the damn wall eventually has to give. And Port did well to only concede a couple of goals given the mountain of possession that Sydney had. But the last couple of minutes, suddenly we're halfway through the quarter and it's 26-0.
Well, their best chance then was going to be win the ball from the centre bounce, but they weren't able to do that. It went to Sydney, and again they had plenty of space to operate in their own full line. This bloke Gary Rowan, he doesn't get huge numbers, but he's effective. Just Heaney there, the ball directed to him again to Xavier Richards, who's been good again in the early parts of this game, pushing at the ball. And that's a good finish from Rowan. A dangerous forward.
Terrific work by the Swans. Out by 26 points. Port Adelaide haven't won here for a decade. Doesn't look good to start, and percentage could be important for Sydney with that big clog up at the top of the ladder. With 4 teams on 13 wins. Pollock with a tackle. Rowan tried to force it out. Jack moves it forward. Wingard tries to manufacture it, and it comes to Lloyd outside of the boot. Franklin one-on-one there with Cleary. Cleary wins out this time. Sam Gray taken down in a tackle by Richards is a good one. Defensive pressure terrific from Sydney here. Sam Gray goes again. Off the deck. Lloyd. He's got aim on, and he's got some support here from Hewitt. He's got to head back now, and Cunningham with the kick. Mark can't be completed by Towers. He's been busy early in the game up front. Jack. Heaney on the right. Swans again. Oh, it's getting ugly for Port Adelaide already.
Every 50-50 contest then, Sydney won. Going right back to the centre bounce. Naismith's been really good at those centre bounces as well. With his direction of the tap, he's developing into a really good tap-type ruckman, even though he's only played a couple of games. He looks like he's going to have a long career here at the Sydney Swans. But then once they got the ball inside again, Heaney's been busy, and the other players just working hard to keep the ball. Here it is, just a bit of contested ball again. Sydney winning it off the ground. Heaney swooping on that ball, and a lively snub by him as well.
Shades of what we saw last week from GWS and Richmond. One side in complete control and the other side completely reactionary, and that's what we've got at the moment. Hanbury to Kennedy. Spears it low inside 50. Cleary on that occasion got in front of Franklin and wins himself the free kick.
Okay, what can they manufacture now, Port Adelaide?
Pittard off half-back. Some good hard run. Presenting the option there is Archie. He's taken to ground. Eamon slides in. Ball close to the line for Dixon. The Swans win it back. Grundy. Quick kick by Lloyd towards Franklin versus Cleary at ground level. Wingard. He's confronted. Taken down by Parker. Ball flipped out towards Franklin. He's tackled by Young. McVeigh in there as well. And we'll class that as a minor win for Port Adelaide right now.
Well, even then, Jason, at the fall of the ball, then it was 3-on-1. You know, and that's inside the Sydney Swans half.
Trengove gets it to Wines, but his kick goes straight to the chest of Cunningham. Concedes some ground to Rampy, who almost slipped over but regained his balance. He can now set up from centre half back, and Mills runs towards the centre of the SCG, kicks towards Towers, who's been everywhere in the opening 20 minutes of this game. Towers called to go, chips it up towards the top of the square. Some big targets there for the Swans off the hands of Nankervis. Pittard will come away once again. The unenviable task of trying to find a target, and this time he does. It's Eamon.
Well, the Port Adelaide players, they're still not working hard enough to get into their attacking half of the ground. And they're just jogging in the middle of the field. Now they're giving the ball up again.
Amon's kick ordinary. Boak having to do the work just to provide some pressure. Long kick from Naismith to Nankervis. He's got to battle 2 of them there. He had Logan Austin as well. This is Burn-Jones with a kick, and wait for the umpire. Yep, deliberate.
You know, he actually had a little bit more time than so does, and you know, they're under so much pressure now, and it's even perceived pressure. So much of the game has been played in the Sydney Swans forward half, and these Port Adelaide defenders are under siege.
Franklin with the opening goal of the game. This one is off target and smacked through for a point. So Sydney, enormous lead to start the game. It's been a red-hot beginning, 33 points up.
Well, they were great last week, weren't they, Sydney against Fremantle? They were sharp. They looked like they were on, and that's exactly what Port Adelaide are being forced to encounter this afternoon.
Pittard goes long. Dixon's his target. One-on-one with Grundy. Ball spills to the front of the contest. Sam Gray lays a tackle. Trying to bust through was Parker. Mitchell keeps it moving forward for the Swans. Towers tried to use his body. Burn-Jones. Quick kick from Lloyd. Back inside 50 once again. At the back is Hanbury, but he won't keep it alive. And the inside 50 count now, Tim. 16-2 in favour of the Swans.
It's a mauling at the moment. An absolute mauling.
What a start from Sydney, sending a real strong message.
Look at that. time in forward half, 79% so far in the Sydney Swans forward half. It's a free kick.
And he could be forgiven for thinking it was actually even more one-sided than that. Wines, his kick was smothered from Heaney, aiming to tidy up, but again, they're going to have to just run it. He goes one-on-one with Boak. Now Young went to give it to Eamon. Handball went behind him, taken by Cunningham. His kick towards half forward will float out of bounds on the full. So if you're a Port Adelaide fan, you're getting frustrated as to why they don't just kick it down the ground. There's just nothing to kick to. Gray goes towards Wines and Archie. Archie takes the mark. Now a chance. He's only got one man inside 50 for Port. It's Impey. He's worked off the football by Aaliyah. Numbers there for the Swans. McVeigh will link up with Rampy. And Sydney away off half-back once again.
Mills to the co-captain, McVeigh, centre of the ground. Look at the numbers too. Franklin up the ground, so working back hard was Nan Curvis. Couldn't get back quick enough. Just see Tim again with no forward structure to go to. As soon as it was turned over to Sydney, get back and terribly dangerous.
Again, yeah, well, there's so much open space for them to operate in, but they're just so scrambled at the moment that Port Adelaide, and they've lost their composure. They just need to hang on to the ball, just set something up, just play a little bit of tempo football, at least for the next 5 minutes.
Pollock to Boak.
Yeah, this is good. Just kick mark, kick mark. They just need to try and slice through this because it's been so erratic and they've been beaten around the contest, but there's been so much uncontested footy for the Swans as well.
Logan Austin from his own goal line goes short to Boak once again. They're looking to switch and try to at least spread the zone, but the kick smothered. It ricochets straight to Papley, and he kicks another. Well, nothing going right at the moment for Port Adelaide. The idea was right, the execution was wrong. Margin out to 40 points. 4 minutes remaining in the opening term. Tom Papley on the board with his 16th goal of the season. Another one of these great finds. The Swans in complete control.
You're sort of thinking then that the ball is in the right hands here with the skipper Travis Boak, but even that kick was smothered and just a simple snap there by Papley.
The idea was right, to try and spread the Swans' zone defence laterally, but the kick was so costly.
They're marching it out of there too.
Parker this time, the milestone man, 200 gamer West off to Trengove. Boak. No real chance to go forward at all yet, despite a couple of inside 50s from Port Adelaide. There's Robbie Gray just trying to work his magic against Mills. Heels aim on, kick. Aaliyah, defence holds up well. Amon slides down on the knees and free kick. Going to go to Cunningham.
Already that idea of going tall in Port Adelaide's forward line doesn't look to be working for them.
Sydney's best opening quarter, 43 points against Brisbane right now. 40 points up.
And this is right, they need to spread Sydney here. Just make them defend out a bit wide.
Broadbent, and they've got Sam Gray at half back. Looks up the ground and not much there, so heads backwards and just going to try and work their way around the ground. This is Cleary out to Burn-Jones.
You look at transitions even today, and Sydney have transitioned from half back, three out of 3, and Port Adelaide are 0 from 16 attempts. They've had 26 clangers already.
Wow, those numbers are damning, aren't they? They certainly tell the story as Sam Gray receives in the left back pocket, runs to his own defensive 50. Finally, they've got a man in space. It's Trengove. He wants to go down the line to Young, but that option's quickly closed down by Aaliyah.
And that's that transition that Jude's talking about, how quickly they go from defence to attack, back to defence again, the Sydney Swans, how hard they work for each other as a team.
To the target. Ricochets off the boot of Aaliyah. Young keeps it alive. Only as far as Cunningham. Mark's paid.
Shouldn't have been. The second
like
part of that was completed over the line.
You would think so. Mark paid to Cunningham. Gets the shepherd from Aaliyah. Gains an extra 10 metres and then thumps it long. It's a 2-on-1. Naismith outnumbered. Numbers at the back for Port. It almost went to Franklin. Pittard releases the handball. Here's Burn-Jones. He looks up, goes towards Gray, who muscles Hanbury off the contest, but Hanbury straight back into it. Takes Robbie Gray to the line. And with 1 minute 46 remaining in the opening term, it's a 40-point lead to the Swans.
Possession, Sydney 107, Port Adelaide 84. Naismith on his knees, Parker to McVeigh. Hewitt traps it beautifully, but just taken out over the line by Logan Austin.
So they've been so poor, haven't they, Port Adelaide around the stoppages again. The Sydney Swans just moving the ball at will.
Jumper was Parker across the front. Taken down Kennedy. Enormous game last week, 45 touches, 3 goals, and only been done 11 times before in history. He's having an enormous season.
Grove jumps hard into Naismith. Taken by Parker. High kick towards the 50. Heaney waits underneath it. Offensive spoil. Ricochet straight to McVeigh, who on the run just misses to the right-hand side. The veteran Jared McVeigh. He hits the scoreboard. 11 scoring shots to none.
Ebert's running with Hanbury. I'd be dropping that tag now at quarter time, Ken Hinkley. They've just got to go on the attack here. They've actually got to start trying to win some ball.
Pittard had a power of work to do in the opening term, and this one's going to come straight back. Once again, it's Rampy to tidy up. Sizzling ball inside 50 was intended for Richards, but it's picked off by Westhoff. Horrendous start to his 200th game from a team perspective. As Broadbent goes long towards Young. Great effort from Hanbury to get across and force a contest. Ebert will gather it just inside the line. Slips, goes to ground, and then flips it over. The umpire will say deliberate.
Sydney, stay back. Brad,
Nothing going right in this first quarter for Port Adelaide.
Play on!
Lloyd. Kick towards 50. Hewitt forces a contest. It spills off the hands of that pack. And out for another throw-in.
Well, if John Longai was happy last week with the complete performance, he's going to be ecstatic in the coach's box after what he's seen in this first quarter. It looks like it's going to be a fairly stress-free type afternoon for him.
Tringove in the ruck, got it straight down to Parker. Almost a little throw, but umpire blindsided. Gray had a fumble that's taken by Kennedy. Tumbles it inside 50. Franklin comes out. It beats that contest between he and Clury.
They're great at that, though, aren't they, Sydney? The way that they lost the ball at the stoppage, and then their ability then to switch defensively and win the ball back. Their mids are the best in the business of doing that.
So maybe time for one more for the Swans. 10 seconds remaining. Jack. Coming through his Polak. He's wrapped up by Kennedy. Ball flips out. Wines, dangerous kick, punched away by Cracker. And the siren sounds to end a first quarter domination from the Sydney Swans. What an impressive half hour of football from the home team. There's 6-5-41. Port Adelaide yet to score. We'll hear from Port Adelaide assistant coach Michael Voss on the other side of the break. Saturday afternoon football, quarter time. It's the Swans by 41 points.
Welcome back to the SCG, and it has been all Sydney in the first quarter. Port's 7th scoreless quarter in the club's history. Right now they're staring at a demoralising defeat, trailing by 41 points after 30 minutes of football. Hanbury's been busy. Parker, Lloyd, all with plenty of the ball. Pittard down back for Port had a bit of the ball too. Let's go down to Jude Bolton now, who's with the assistant coach at Port Adelaide, Michael Voss.
Vossy, 41 points down, 22 inside 50s to 4. How do you recalibrate after such a poor quarter?
Oh, well, it's the old classic of trying to win the quarter and reset ourselves. But, you know, on the periphery of the contest, they just were better around the clinches. And then when we got our opportunities going forward, they just had a better shape defensively. So just got to get our forwards reset and get something to kick to.
But your resetting forward seemed a big issue. It seemed the ball use going forward as well.
Yeah, and they've had repeat entries. And when you're playing against a good side like Sydney, they're going to hit the scoreboard. So get a little bit more territory on the ground and get our forwards resetting a little bit harder and hopefully get a different result.
Appreciate your time. Thanks, mate.
Well, it's not often a side goes through an entire quarter of football without one effective disposal in their forward 50. That's what it was for Port Adelaide. They had one kick inside their forward 50. It was Polak and it went out on the full.
That's right. That was their only scoring opportunity in that first quarter. And Michael Voss touched on all the things that we talked about in that first quarter. Can they reset themselves in this second quarter? A long way down, a long way to come back.
So we start the second term at the SCG. Trengove in the ruck, now chases it at ground level. Slides in, looks to get a handball to Westhoff. He's wrapped up by McVeigh. Ball spills out to Pittard. Pittard kicks towards half forward. Wingard forced to track that football, but he trails Lloyd in the race. Lloyd spirals it down the line. It's going to pitch and bounce over and out in front of Xavier Richards.
Travis Boak had plenty to say to his teammates at quarter time, and that's where you need the leadership right now. And the players around the ball, Boak, Wines, Ebert, Gray and Wingard, they've actually got to show the way now for Port Adelaide. Trengove as well in the ruck.
Trengove gets it to the front of the contest. It's taken by Mitchell. Gains some territory towards half forward. Towers was dangerous in the first quarter of football. He's got Stewart for company and the ball ricochets out.
It's going to be dangerous, Towers, though, because he gets so many looks with this Sydney Swans side. Yeah, we know that they're a great defensive side, the #1 defensive side in the competition. But it's their ability to go from defensive mindset to attacking mindset that's been so impressive so far today.
Towers already 3 shots at goal, 1-2. Wines going off the ground. Mills was just knocked off it by Wingard. Back to Grundy. Butcher overruns it. Grundy and McVeigh now can work away with and taken down Dixon on Grundy, and free kick's going to go Sydney's way, Tim.
Already we're seeing a concerted effort from Port Adelaide, though, to keep their 6, keep their structure forward of the footy.
And Jude, you just have to do this against the Sydney Swans defence.
You do, and you've just got to trust your midfielders then to crack in and try and beat the Hannaberys, Mitchell and Parkers and Kennedy, of course.
Off the ground was Trengove. Pittard and Jack just doesn't even get down to it. Pittard now comes back to him. Hurried kick into the 50. Butcher not going to get rid of it there. Finally does after he gets up. High kick comes from Young. He'll need a bounce. Impey over his head. McVeigh. All Swans here. Have a look at this. They can raffle it now. 4-1. And Lloyd clears the defensive 50.
Trots away from half-back. Decides he'll kick it long. That was a smart kick. He saw Heaney tracking back on Cracker and put it over the top of the contest to the advantage of his teammate. Heaney pokes it down the line to Papley.
On the angle.
Papley touched off the mark by Burne-Jones, and Franklin can only see it dribble out.
Gary Rowan still battling with that right hip. He went down into the rooms prior to quarter time, and he's still just trying to warm that up.
On a cold day like today, it's going to be a real task.
Naismith tries to get it down to Mitchell. Jack in there lurking as well. Mitchell tried to slap it towards Kennedy. Wines working hard. Kieran Jack gets to it first. Gives it to McVeigh. Good tackle from Young. Wines, quick hurried kick. It's been the story of the day so far for Port Adelaide. Smith used his body to try and protect the football. Spills out to Franklin. Gets the hands free. Gives it to Jack. Sidesteps Cracker, but unsuccessfully.
Now they have to run to space. They've got to create now.
Cracker's kick goes straight to Rampy. Missed the target. He was looking for Boak, and that gives Rampy the chance to link up with Grundy, and they can clear off half-back.
Kick over the top to McVeigh. Again, just working the ball methodically here with not a lot of pressure. Jack. Scott Franklin's come a long way. Quickly around onto the left. Stretch from Heaney. He's been cleaned up. He's going to get the free kick.
Almost like he's got a target on his back this afternoon. Isaac Heaney, that's the second time that he's been met heavily.
Right in front, Isaac.
Busy first quarter. This is the kick coming in from Buddy Franklin. Just over the top there, and some late attention. The umpire's never going to miss that.
So Heaney, a goal kicker in the first quarter. One of 6 individual scorers for Sydney. 4 goals last week from dead in front, 40 out, and pulls it across to the left.
He's been really good. We saw him a couple of weeks ago here at the SCG. Had a really poor first half against Carlton, and I think the coach might have had a couple of words to him at half-time. He was excellent in the second half, and very good again last week against Fremantle over there in Western Australia.
Westhoff game number 200. Nice stretch and take there. Hasn't had a lot to smile about yet as he heads back to Pittard.
What can they construct here, Port Adelaide?
Austin.
That's better.
And one-on-one there. Trengove couldn't take it. Terrific work by Naismith. Takes it out over the line.
Jude, you like Naismith? Just a youngster coming into this side, but he looks like he's got enormous potential.
Oh, he's got a huge upside, to be honest, Tim. And I think the fact that he's only into his 6th game or whatever at the moment, but he's just working through. He gets his hand to the football, but he's building his tank each week.
Archie tries to get it towards Ebert. Parker, Hanbury in there, slip between his legs. Somehow it gets to McVeigh. Quick kick to Papley, attacked it. Burne-Jones a fumble, taken by Wines. Quick kick towards the middle of the ground. Dixon in front position with Grundy for company. Boak lost his feet. Grundy goes back, wins the football and flips it to Rampy. Rampy can square it up and they can attack right up the middle of the SCG. This is Mitchell, looks for an option, waits for the lead. Goes towards Franklin, got it. And once again we see the stark contrast of Port Adelaide getting the football surrounded under enormous pressure. The Swans have got time to look up, assess and deliver on cue.
He had 4 options then. Tom Mitchell, when he kicked that ball, 4 options coming down the ground. He just had a checklist. He went A, B, C, D, and then decided to kick it to Buddy.
So a chance for Lance Franklin to hit the front in the race for the Coleman medal. Currently tied with Josh Kennedy. Franklin slots it through. He's got his 2nd. And the Swans have got their 7th. 7-6-48. Port Adelaide yet to score. 6.5 minutes gone, 2nd term.
I know we've spoken about it already, but the stark contrast between these two teams. And coming into this side, you've got to remember Port Adelaide has come off what was described as a ruthless performance against the Brisbane Lions. We know they're inferior in terms of the talent to the Sydney Swans outfit, but in the early part of this game they've been blown away. But it's the fact that they haven't been able to defend, and then they haven't had any system when they've attacked.
Back this way. Jump at the footy.
Picked up, little give there by Sam Gray. Cleaned up by Kennedy. Parker, here we go, Xavier Richards. Another quick one, can they get 2 in a minute? Yes, they can. Out by 54 points, the Swans.
They get more pressure against themselves in a training drill during the week. I mean, they've had the lightest week of all time, the Sydney Swans, but they still would have experienced more pressure than what they're experiencing from Port Adelaide today. And Xavier Richards, we saw him play a couple of weeks ago against Carlton. He was really impressive, pushed hard at the ball, provided an option, played off Buddy. And that's a really good finish from here. Here it is. I mean, Port Adelaide have the ball, and Sydney's ability to win the ball back off them. And then the concentrations there of Richards, and then good finish.
Look at the confidence. Naismith just takes it out of the ruck, thumps it inside 50. Franklin again, was he dragged off in the contest? Taken by Pittard. But again, he looks up, he's got a one-on-one to go to. Feeds it back to Cleary. Franklin goes hunting, but Cleary steps around him. Kicks it out again to a one-on-one. It's Trengo versus Naismith, who just shoves him aside. Thought about selling the dummy. Instead, he gave it to Jack, who delivers inside 50 once again. The mark's taken by Hewitt. He's called to go as he stepped off his line. He'll attack the top of the goal square. Port have got the numbers, and on this occasion, Stewart takes the defensive mark. But again, the spread just isn't there for Port right now. They're not working hard enough to create options for their teammates as Broadbent goes down the line. And the Swans giving them no separation at all. Good effort from Aaliyah. Got the fist in. Opened the door for McVeigh, but he couldn't take possession. Aaliyah goes back, lays another tackle on Sam Gray. Ball spills to Broadbent. He goes quickly to Boak, and maybe now something from Port off half-back.
Skipper's going to have to go down the line. No other options. Dixon's the target. He's got Grundy. Robbie Gray overruns the ball. Rampy, have a look at that. Picks it up, goes off his knees. Tim Watson talking about him being in all-Australian form. Well, the kick was good too to Rowan, but just spills it, takes that over the line.
But again, that's too easy, isn't it? Just to brush aside a couple of Port Adelaide players. Where was the fierce tackling there? You see Gary Rowan there just still struggling after he landed heavily in the first quarter. I think he's got a cork butting.
An inside 50 count, 29-6 Sydney's ways. Make it 30-6 now. Stewart providing the tackling. Broadbent clears it off the deck. Westhoff with the tackle. He's going to get the free kick. High. Back across to Cracker. He's got support in Cleary, so they're going to try and edge it up this side of the ground. Stewart with it. He's got Wines in short, but he's been closed down by Mills. He's got to go long. One-on-one. Impey uses the body well to Wines. Broadbent's under enormous pressure. Coughs it up to Cunningham. Here we go. The Swans ready to set it up again. Hewitt, long kick. Pittard set best. Rowan had a couple to deal with. Cleary butters up well to Pittard. And he heads into the centre of the ground. The kick needs to be a good one, and he finds both.
Maybe now a chance for Port. He's got Wingard forward of the football. Steps around Lloyd, spears it inside 50. He's got Ebert and Robbie Gray. Gray gathers, turns, attacks the goal face. Rampy strives to get back but can't. And Port Adelaide are on the board. 10 3/4 minutes into the second term. Lovely finish from Robbie Gray. For just about the first time this afternoon, we saw Port Adelaide able to move it through the middle of the ground unimpeded.
It was the first time that space really opened up. It was a really good kick-off half back to Boak. And then Chad Wingard had the ball in his hands. We know how clever he is. He generally reaches for the right option. And Robbie Gray, who's one of the finest small forwards in the game, just finishing that. But it is an understatement to say that is a much-needed goal. Here's the build-up again. There's the Wingard kick to the space. Didn't hit the target. But just smart enough to be able to work his way through this Gray and finish it off. Almost touched there by Rampy.
It's the old saying, the journey of 9 goals begins with a single kick, Tim.
Yes, it does. And the Nile starts with a drip.
Touch, play on, play on.
Aaron Young and Jack, centre of the ground. Goes Jack's way. Hurry kick in. Franklin, best position to be licking his lips today. He's made a terrific start to the game. You have a look at that Port Adelaide defence when you know that Homsch, Jonas, Trengove's in the ruck, also Carlisle out. You'd think Buddy would be just feeling pretty good, Tim, now that the ground has dried up.
Yeah, they're very inexperienced down there.
Pittard, probably the best performer for the season with a clearing kick. But Sydney again, Papley's got support, just misses his target of Heaney. Sam Gray pushes off, ignores Boak, the skipper out to his right. It's got Dixon. Okay, we're seeing some fluid movement now.
Play on.
Quick give. This is Ebert. And Butcher was the target. Rampy with the hit. Butcher's quick on foot. He's got a chance to go off the ground and misses from point blank.
Much better ball movement, though, for Port Adelaide. They're turning, they're wheeling and going, getting it in quickly.
So can the Power get something going here? Mitchell has it in his own defensive 30. Trots to the broadcast side. But again, good defence from Port Adelaide to man up the options and forces him to go short to Nick Smith. Smith patiently back to Rampy. Now he goes to Grundy. Grundy will go to Kennedy, and Kennedy has it just inside his own defensive 50. Now they get a little bit of run from behind. It's Cunningham. The man works into space, Papley. Good patient build-up from the Swans. Papley goes inboard to Towers. That's the dangerous kick. Young picks it off. Good zone work from Port Adelaide. Young from 52 goes for goal, but misses. In fact, it just scrapes in for a behind, but the process is right from Port. Deny Sydney that easy, fluid movement off half-back and try to create opportunities. Young just couldn't quite finish.
Well, that's a simple part of the game. I mean, you just got to make yourself hard to play against, which is what we haven't seen from Port Adelaide until really the last couple of minutes.
Kick from Rampy. Heaney uses the body well against Sam Gray. We'll get Jude Bolton to keep an eye on Robbie Gray. He's just been limping for the last couple of minutes in defence down for Port Adelaide there. This is hands and knees. Hanbury, Pittard and Jack going at it hard. The umpire will come in and get involved. Robbie Gray at half forward rather is just struggling a little bit. He's got Nick Smith
a bit
to
of
deal
discomfort there, Sodas. He's got Nick Smith alongside him, but he's just been a little bit ginger. He copped a bit of a knock earlier on.
Kennedy only as far as Pollock. Wines, the young bull, tries to work it out to Pollock again. This will test Robbie Gray right now, and close to the line. He didn't feel really comfortable turning there.
He's a difficult opponent too, Smith. He's one of the best small defensive players in the business, and it's not easy to get a kick on Smith. We know how damaging Robbie Gray can be, though.
Trengove at the front, Nankervis at the back. Westhoff had it momentarily. Mitchell beautifully pinched by Impey. Now can he finish? Needs to work it back, but can't. Port, their last 5 minutes, a vast improvement. Mind you, they were coming off a particularly low benchmark.
It was a low base. That was a great steal then by Impey. Just read the play beautifully from a long way back.
Goes to Grundy. Here's Heaney again, who's just presented all afternoon so far. Such an important link player in this side as they move ball from defence to attack. And that one off the hands of the contest from Hewitt.
They're just
out for a throw-in.
They're just shutting that space down a lot better than what they did, though. We're not seeing that same precise ball movement from the Sydney Swans. We're not seeing them, when they do gain possession of the ball, having so many options as what they did in the first part of the game.
Franklin just having a rest on the bench after a couple of goals to start things. Take a lead in the Coleman medal. Kick close to the line. Burne-Jones and Hewitt scored it over.
But remember too, I mean, percentage is such an important thing for the Sydney Swans.
Of course, just sitting 2% behind the Giants. They take on Gold Coast a little bit later on. Also even points with Geelong and Adelaide. And the Cats have got Essendon. Adelaide have got Brisbane tonight. So you'd expect each of those sides in the top 5 will go in as favourites. So percentage, very important. They're doing the right thing. McVeigh into 50. Stewart back onto it. He's got support in the Cracker. Port Adelaide, a little bit organised now. Go to Westhoff on the bounce. Pittard in trouble. Good work by Mills through the legs. Looking for Nan Curvis. This is Rowan taken down by Stewart. No free kick. McVeigh under pressure. Port Adelaide's defence standing up okay on that situation there.
Change the structure around stoppages. They're getting beaten inside Port Adelaide around that first perimeter and also on the outside with the uncontested possession.
Pittard hasn't had too many more difficult halves of football. He's up to 16 possessions, and every time he goes near it, he's seemingly confronted by 3 opponents right on his hammer. Mitchell to the top of the square. Polek under pressure again. Hurried kick only as far as Naismith. He pokes it towards the pocket. Chance for Lloyd to run onto it. He leaves it behind. Nan Curvis now fetches it, gives it to Lloyd, who'll retreat. Goes back to Smith right on 50. Smith looks for an option. It's McVeigh one-on-one with Boak. Port skipper gets a fist of the football. Westhoff slides in. Somehow Towers emerged with the football, but beautiful bone-rattling tackle. And Wines gives it to Wingard. Now Young, but Rampy attacked it. Did well. Runs to 48. Rampy, that's a fantastic goal. He attacked the football, shoulder to shoulder with Robbie Gray, ran on and finished truly. Wonderful piece of play. His first goal for the season and one to remember.
That's one of the best passages of play I've seen this year. His anticipation, getting enormous applause here from the Sydney Swans fans. They've really grown to love what he's capable of doing and what he's producing this year, his finest season. But it was his anticipation, read the ball. There you go, just see the intercept mark, and then it's the finish, just inside 50.
Just his 6th career goal in 91 games from Rampy. Super consistent season from him as Archie now in the middle of the ground trying to work his way against a hurried kick from Port Dixon. Under it, Mills with courage goes back quick enough to get a kick in the direction of Hanbury on his left, and Heaney's his target further up the ground. He's got Broadbent to deal with. Gives it to Franklin. He's got enough time to get on his left. Pat Lee with the stretch taken out by Burne-Jones.
How about the work Heaney's been doing this afternoon? You know, pushing up the ground, providing that option to the players coming off half back. He's been outstanding.
Naismith, the front, gets it down to Kennedy. Quick hands to Towers. He runs to 50. Handball made McVeigh just go back and fetch it. Tries to sell the dummy, loses his feet, still keeps it alive inside 50. Was that a mark or was it on the bounce? It
was marked from where I was.
It's going to be paid to Rowan. All players look at each other and look at the umpire. Let's take another look.
It's a halfer.
So Gary Rowan kicked a goal in the opening term.
Stretch the buttock here when he drives through with the ball.
Directly in front. 40 metres out, Rowan. Doesn't make good contact with that one.
And that's the kick of somebody trying to protect a bit of an injury there.
Got the nasty knock in that first term. He seems to be moving okay, but perhaps still suffering the effects as The lead, enormous for Sydney right now. Mills over the top, couldn't complete the mark. Franklin keeps the hands up, able to get the handball out to Hanbury. Quick kick comes from Aaron Young. Doesn't bounce Impey's way. Dixon overruns it. Cunningham with the kick. Sends it back the way it came. And good body work there by Cleary. Kept Franklin out of it. Mark taken by Young. Polek taken down. Free kick, Sydney. Heaney again with that work rate. Terrific, Tim.
Well, that's working without the ball then, but Polek just should have known that there was going to be somebody.
Heaney's kick spot on to the co-captain, Jared McVeigh, and he's going to have a chance here. Goes into Franklin. Already with 2 goals on the left. Spots up the kick, Heaney, and also Hanbury with it. Back to Towers. Already a goal kicker today from 52. Top of the square. Well read by Cracker, through from behind.
I mean, Polek in that situation, he shouldn't be in a relaxed frame of mind at that part of the ground. But you know you're playing against the Sydney Swans, who are one of the best, most aggressive pursuers in the competition. I mean, you've got to be sharper than that.
West off the target from the kick in. Marks shoulder to shoulder with Mills, gives it to Archie. Tumbles a kick into the middle of the ground, and Naismith picks it off. Goes short to McVeigh, who's got Hewitt over the top. If he can get back off the mark and deliver it to him. He's got a runner on the outside. He'll use that support run now from Lloyd to Mitchell. And they work it to forward 50.
Naismith's been good on Trengo. Trengo's been putting up sort of midfield type numbers, but he's been good on the spread with him.
Franklin and Cleary go to ground, and Papley comes in and takes Sam Gray over the line.
We've spoken about the Swans, obviously intercept marks and returning it from there. They average 56 points a game from scores from turnovers. They're already up to 41 points today.
Trengo gets to the front. His tap goes straight to Kennedy, who somehow gets boot to ball. Dribbles it towards the square. Rowan picked it up. Still alive for the Swans. Quick give to Hewitt. His snap goes across the goal face. Hits the behind post, so out of bounds on the full.
Thank you. Stay this side of the post, Paul.
Paul Stewart chalked up his 100th game. 10 seasons it's taken. It was last week against Brisbane. Alir just pushes Westhoff, works him under the ball, comes back with it. He's composed to Mills. Another one of the youngsters composed as well. High from Parker, quick, and good body work by Heaney, able just to move Stewart out of the way, and he's got a chance to shoot from about 35 out on a 45.
Well, he's just been so impressive this afternoon. We've already spoken about him in glowing terms. And here is just an indication of how strong he is. Look at that. I mean, that's just far too easy.
Thanks, Paul. Right on now. Yeah.
His kicking hasn't been 100%.
Goal kicker in the first quarter. Heaney just pulls it across the face.
Is that the third one he's pulled to the left? I think they've all missed to that side of the goals.
Giddard gains a couple of metres and then goes long. Butcher was caught behind. Parker at the front was taken high by Archie. Umpire called play on. Alir slides over the line.
Liking him too, Jason. This is only his 7th game of AFL football, but he looks like he's been playing for at least a couple of seasons. So composed, and I guess when you slot into a defensive unit like the Sydney Swans and a team like the Sydney Swans, the other players around you give you so much confidence.
And you've got such a clearly defined role to play as well. You can just play within your limitations, and that's what he's doing. It's Parker, wins the football, goes back inside 50. Rowan comes across, and Cracker thumps it to the line. We see that in the great teams, the Hawthorns, Geelong, Sydneys over the last decade. They have such a great system and such a clear definition of roles that when youngsters come in, they know exactly what they've got to do.
Yeah, it makes your job so much easier when you've just got to follow those simple instructions about the way that the coach wants you to play.
Kennedy tries to slap it forward. Heaney again, a slight fumble on this occasion, allowed Cracker in through the hands of McVeigh. Towers. Polek.
They're out.
Now a chance for Young to Boak. He can work it to Archie. Archie will have to kick it wide though, because there's not a lot forward of the football. He does it well. He gets it to Westhoff. Hard run coming from Impey. He gathers, runs to 40. He's had a sider from this position. Decides to bring it inboard. Both confronted by Smith. And opens the door for McVeigh. Feeds it backwards to Cunningham. He can push it wide to the outer side. Richards versus Ebert. Richards gets there first. is happy to concede it to the boundary.
How good was Sydney then to get back to that dangerous part of the ground? That's where the ball, they knew the ball was going to be directed there. It was a cross, didn't hit its target. But they had the numbers back there. They were midfielders working back hard into that space defensively.
Trent Gove up against Nankervis.
Hi, Sydney. Hi.
Free kick for Hanbury, coming off a season-high 41 touches. Only Lockie Neal and Paddy Dangerfield have had more of the footy than him this season. Hurried up with the left foot. High and
Holding, Sydney.
free kick.
Toby. Hold there.
Taken by Nankervis on the wing. The two young ruckmen, obviously all momentum going their way, Tim, but they've done a good job against Trent Gove.
And they've only played a handful of games between them, those two. Obviously, Tippett, hopefully for Sydney, will come back at some stage, and we know that Sinclair is out with an injury as well.
Well, Tippett Upty's running on Tuesday, so there's some talk from Sydney. He could be back round 22 against North Melbourne. So both these guys doing a terrific job against Trent Gove, who was described as a combative beast by Longmire during the week, so they were wary of him. But at the moment, hasn't been an issue. McVeigh, long and hit hard. Just within the line, out of bounds. A couple of juggles over it, so opportunity here for Sydney. Didn't take it cleanly, so 26.5 minutes gone, 54-point lead to the Swans. Trent Gove, ruck work, quick kick from Jack. Heaney amongst it again. He's been terrific this quarter. Franklin on the left. Can't get it around enough.
Just couldn't get enough purchase on it then, buddy. Aren't they dangerous, though, the Sydney Swans, in terms of their ability to move the ball so quickly by hand and so decisively by hand, just to find a player eventually that's got less pressure on them that can actually deliver the ball, or as Buddy did then, had a shot at goal.
He's got 2 goals, 1 in the first half. Aaliyah taken down by Westhoff. Parker can feed it backwards to Cunningham. Does likewise to Rampy. He'll go long towards Franklin again. Numbers there for Port Adelaide. Cleary got to the front. Parker at ground level taken down by Young. Cleary taken down by Jack and Franklin.
No, he had no prior. I tried to get rid of it straight away.
So they've dominated contested possessions. They've dominated pretty much every single statistical category, the Sydney Swans. It has been an unbelievably impressive opening half of football from them against a side who was fighting for their season in Port Adelaide. Smashed the resistance from the opening bounce. And Port muster something here as Gray tries to get some territory. That's Sam Gray. Ken Hinkley and Michael Voss. Matthew Nix, watch on.
They've been through a number of plans already, their contingencies. They've probably run out of contingencies.
Just looking for a spark, something to get them going. They had a good 6 or 7 minutes there, but
some effort.
The Swans just wrested control back as Gray gets it to Pollock, who somehow gets the hands free. Releases Young, who thinks about the little give to Boak. Instead, he'll attack the goal square. Butcher out of position. Archie did well. Forced a contest, got it to Butcher, who kicks the goal. So the Port Adelaide rather get their second. Let's have a listen now inside the Port huddle at quarter time. This is Ken Hinkley and him addressing his troops at the first change.
That's a disaster. 75%. That's the information. We just forward to go through. If you don't work, it'll continue on. If you don't work, and play the percentages that you have to. They're just kicking the ball forward. They're all holding shape outside the stoppage as well. We're going bang at it. They're getting flick and score.
Ken Hinkley there at quarter time, just imploring them to work a lot harder, Tim, and the return for this term, they've kicked 2 to Sydney's 3, so they had to improve. There was no doubt about that. They've done that, but still trailing by 49 points. McVeigh, Heaney put the hand out. Rowan couldn't complete the mark. Heaney's still down on the ground now. Cracker back, goes for a little kick. Mitchell to Rowan and miscues it. So Sam Gray, he's got Boak. He's going to have to be quick, and there it is at quarter time. Well, what a performance by the Swans. They are in the hunt for percentage, and right now they lead by a whopping 49%. It's been comprehensive, Tim.
They've absolutely smashed Port Adelaide, Sydney, right from the opening bounce of this game, and they've been trying to hold on. Port Adelaide, they were a little bit more competitive in that second quarter, but it's been a miserable first half of football from a side that went into this game with really good form behind them and reasons to believe that this was going to be a great contest.
3 goals to 2 in that second term as we head down to Jude.
Josh, a really comprehensive first half there.
Yeah, really good. I mean, from the first minutes, our pressure was really up. I think we kept them scoreless in the first quarter, and they fought back then and evened it up in that area, I thought. So we just got to regroup and see if we can bring that intensity and effort in the second half.
The pressure around the footy, but also the structure behind the footy to get to prey on turnover was very strong.
Yeah, the defenders have been really strong the last few weeks, and they're at it again today. They've set up behind the ball really well and been able to move it really well despite the conditions.
Good luck in the second half, mate.
No need for much luck at the moment. They are dominating the Sydney Swans, leading by 49 points at half-time, 9-10-64 to 2-3-15. And the other scores, as we have a look around the grounds, it's a beauty at the MCG. The Hawks are fighting back. Demons were playing really well, led by 11 points at quarter-time. Got an early goal there, and at the moment it's 10 points the difference. Melbourne 38 to Hawthorn 28. All right, all the highlights from both games at the SCG and the MCG coming up right after the break.
It's half-time in Sydney on Jeep Super Saturday.
Jack, Petey on the right. Swans again. Oh, it's getting ugly for Port Adelaide already.
And they're looking to switch and try to at least spread the zone, but the kick's smothered. It ricochets straight to Papley, and he kicks another. Slips, goes to ground, and then flips it over. The umpire will say deliberate.
It looks like it's going to be a fairly stress-free type afternoon for him.
Nothing going right in this first quarter for Port Adelaide.
Yeah, big day for the Sydney Swans, not so good for Port Adelaide, as the great Lou Richards used to say, when you're hot, you're hot, when you're not, you're not. And the Swans are hot at the moment, they're red hot. Let's have a look at the scores here. It was heading out to almost a 10-goal lead at quarter time before Port Adelaide got the last goal of the first half, but it's 19 scoring shots to 5, 9-10-64, 2-3-15. Buddy's kicked 2, Gray and Butcher, the 2 goal kickers for the entire Port Adelaide side. So a bit of work to be done. Let's have a look at the highlights here. 11 scoring shots to nothing in the first quarter, and it was Buddy who kicked the first of the game to get them going. Tom Mitchell made it 20-0 with this snap off one step. Have a look at this one.
Can't be taken. Little give.
Just knew where the goals were. Kicked 3 against Fremantle last week, Tom Mitchell. He knows where the goals are. Ted Richards announced his retirement from footy at the end of the year. His younger brother Xavier playing today for the Swans. Got it over to Gary Rowan, 26-0. And then Travis Boak, normally one of the more sure-handed and sure-minded players, kicked it into the opponent. Smother over to Tom Papley. 41 points the difference at quarter time for the Swans. I mentioned Xavier Richards. Well, he got into it as well. Flying shot from 40. Nice kick. 54-0 at this stage. It took 10 3/4 minutes into the second term before Robbie Gray created something from nothing and got Port Adelaide on the board. 54-6.
Rampy strives to get back but can't.
But Aaron Young kicks it straight to Dane Rampy, and it's another goal, marching back to 51 points. And as I mentioned, at half-time, it was 49 points the difference at the SCG, 9-10-64 to 2-3-15. Sydney Swans just moving beautifully, and as we heard from our callers at the game, they really need to get their percentage happening, and that's what's really going on at the SCG today from here. All right, there's a live scores now from Melbourne and Hawthorn, and the Hawks are fighting back. It's been a ripping encounter. 6-2-38 Melbourne to 4-3 29. I can update that right now because Melbourne has just kicked another goal. So they're 7-2-44 to 4-5-29. Let's have a look at the highlights of the first quarter. And from the stoppage, Nathan Jones sets up Jaden Hunt. Sam Wiedemann playing in his first game, the grandson of the great Murray, the son of Mark, and you wouldn't believe it, his first touch in football is a beauty.
Wiedemann got it!
And his first goal in football is even better.
And he's delighted. And a
Wonderful stuff. There's Mark. Murray's at the game as well. Even Ron Barassi's barracking for a Wiedemann today. James Hearns takes on a couple of hooks, set up for Dean Kent in his 50th game. And the Demons are up by 11 points. And as I said, it's a ripping encounter there at the moment. 44-29, and we've got 12 minutes to go in the second quarter. So a ripping game at the MCG. Maybe an upset coming up for the D's against the Hawks. 20 years after they wanted to merge, the Hawks have been laughing all the way to the premiership cabinet since then. Well, maybe the D's are starting to have a little bit of a laugh, or at least a smirk, halfway through the second quarter. We're going to take a break and come back. When we do, we're going to head up to have a look at Gold Coast versus GWS, and two old cats. Cam Mooney will speak to Stevie Johnson. That's coming up next. Players back on the ground at the SCG for Sydney and Port Adelaide. As you can see, a big lead to the Sydney Swans. Close to 10 goals in front there, heading to the halftime bell before a late goal to Port Adelaide with kick 2 for the day. The inside 50s are 41-13 in favour of Sydney. Contested possessions 102-73. Uncontested possessions 132-90. But marks inside 50 are 7-0, all in favour of the Swans.
Saturday afternoon footy at the SCG. Here's Mark Soderstrom.
Ollie Wines on the bottom there, just my ball. Trying to work hard in there, and you think of the last 3 games that Sydney have had here at the SCG. They've been tough, they've been tight, all been decided by a goal or less. They got over Carlton by 6 points. Hawthorn and the Bulldogs, they lost by 5 and 4 respectively. Right now, this looks comfortable for them. Attack, Archie with the kick. Little juggle there, comes from Grundy. That's Aaron Young with the tape around the head. Impey forcing the ball forward, Boak on the back, and Wingard with just a little bit of classic work out of the air into the post. He's a dynamic player, he's exciting. Couldn't finish it off.
Young got across, fisted it away from Mills, but here goes Alir off half-back. Goes towards the lead of Rowan out in front with Cracker for company. Heaney gathers the crumb, looks up, will go inside 50. Hewitt got rid of his man. Towers links up with him, gives it back to Hewitt. Hewitt to Kennedy, and he gets the opening goal of the third term. One inside 50 each. Port Adelaide couldn't quite convert at their end, and then in the blink of an eye, the Swans sweep at the length of the SCG, and Kennedy gets on the end of it for his first goal.
We talked about Josh Kennedy coming into this game. The type of form he's been in, probably career best, and that's saying something because he's been consistently good in his AFL career. And that's just all about hard running, but that's intelligent football too, just keeping the ball alive.
Straight back.
And in the end, the finish by Kennedy.
Coming off the complete performance last week, it's only taken a minute or so to get a goal there. So free kick out of the centre clearance, going to go Sydney's way to Naismith. Pumps the ball long. Heaney sits under it, uncontested, takes the mark.
That's just unacceptable. You can't let someone just mark it, not even having to compete for the ball, and mark it on their chest 25 metres out directly in front.
We talk about the contribution of Josh Kennedy too. That's 5 weeks in a row now that he's kicked the goal, and that's exactly what you want from your midfielders when they get their opportunity to go forward.
And he 1-2 has been a little inaccurate today, but from dead in front, 30 out. Possession number 17. Heaney puts it through. 2 in a minute.
It's a dangerous forward line, isn't it, when you consider that there's the potential that Tippett will come back into this side, so they've got the opportunity to play probably Tippett alongside Buddy, alongside Rowan, alongside Heaney. I mean, there's a lot of scoring opportunities there between those 4 forwards in particular.
And those styles really complement each other.
They do. Well, you've got to play hard on each of those blokes because they'll win the ball themselves.
He's an impressive physical specimen, Isaac Heaney, just so powerful. Seems to have such a low centre of gravity to work his man off the football. So strong, great hands. Just his second season. What a young rising star he is. Ball back in the middle of the ground. Boak gets a quick kick towards half forward. Attacking it is Impey. Releases the handball to Boak. Archie went to ground. Might have been taken high up by call play on Parker. Cunningham now feeds it to Parker, who kept running. Looks up inside 50. He's got Rowan deep coming at him, and he hits him.
That's what we're talking about, isn't it? The ability for those players to present and be good one-on-one type players. They're all capable of marking the ball, so they're all capable of actually playing out of the square, which gives them all sorts of options. This is a great kick by Parker.
So Rowan, let's kick 1-1 for the afternoon. Crosses the 50. And kicks another. The Swans keep rolling on at the SCG. He gets his second. It wasn't a completely fluid kick, Tim. We talked about that nasty knee copped in the back, the buttock area, and how much it affected that kick in the second term. He didn't quite get through that kick at 100%, but it was enough to get the job done.
No, it's definitely impacting on his kicking. And I'm just thinking about where Sydney are at right now, and the fact that the pointy end of the season they're going to be up against Hawthorn, and we know that Hawthorn, one of their great strengths has been their forward half. The ability of their players to win one-on-ones to be so dangerous. Here's the kicking action of Gary Rowan, and Jason Bennett called it correctly. Just pulling the kick a little bit, just trying to protect, as you see them landing, just a little bit sore there in the right buttock.
Just under 5 minutes into this third term, 3 goals already to Sydney. The lead has blown out to 66 points. Boak off the ground, running back in best position is Grundy. He's got Dixon behind him, support from Aliir, and the Sydney defence standing up manfully again. Aliir with a long clearing kick, bounces over the head of Heaney. Ebert's out now, chip over the top is a good one to Wines. He's got support from Pittard. Back to Wines, goes for a little kick, and Sydney again. Parker, what a great first half he had. Dominated contested possession, had 12 of 18 possessions were contested. Now chance into the centre of the ground, running back with the flight is Cunningham. They've got numbers over the top. Here he goes, plenty of speed from Rowan, and you talked about that little injury he had, Tim, and that exactly
it's impacting on him,
there.
Yeah, it must be when he actually drives through with a kick. Just watch it again. Just there he is, just almost missing the ball. Hanbury, that tag's been dropped now too. Ebert actually is playing as a midfielder.
Naismith. This is Jack on the left, top of the square. Mark from Towers couldn't be taken. He also was impressive in the first quarter in front of goals. Quick clearing kick comes from Sam Gray. Mills dropped what he should have taken. Aliir in support. Tackle from Rampy. Little handball from Young, got clear. On hands and knees there is Cunningham. Aliir again. 2-on-1. Stewart out. Young. Here is Wingard. Just tries to go low and run it in. He's going to need a good bounce, and it just goes to the right-hand side of the post.
Charlie Dixon there. A couple of tackles. No doubt Ken Hinkley has had plenty to say to his players at half-time. One of those things would have been about being more competitive and being more physical around the contest.
Aliir off half-back, goes to Heaney, who jumped early, kept his feet at the back, gives it to Hanbury, 51 metres out, measures it but misses. Minor score to Dan Hanbury. The transmission has resumed, hasn't it, in this third term? Port Adelaide had the first inside 50 of the quarter, but once again the Swans just grabbing a hold of the game.
Play on!
Nathan Cracker goes towards Dixon, couple to beat, crashes the pack, and Broadbent wins the crumb. Gets it to Gray, who just tries to poke it down the line. A good stretching effort from Young. Marks just inside the line. Aaron Young. Fortunately, he's okay as he sort of slid into the fence there where the Swans bench is. No damage done. He goes short to Sam Gray, who looks to square it up. The bold kick to Broadbent, but it was tidy, and now the switch is on to the far side. Burne-Jones can go over the top to Pittard, who can get it and go onto his left. Goes inside 50. The kick to Impey. Not sure if it was intended for him, but it ended up hitting him on the chest, and he'll have a shot for goal from 40 metres out directly in front.
Much better ball movement, just executing the whole time, taking their chances and just using that fat side of the ground well there, Port Adelaide.
Just as we talked about, Ebert dropping the tag on Hanbury, it looks like they're opposed to each other again, those two. That's great concentration, though, particularly when there's numbers of players in front of you. Still keep your eye on the ball like that.
So Impey 45 metres out directly in front. Nice looking kick off the boot. And Port get their third. So Jarman Impey with his first for the afternoon. He's got 1 goal, 1, and the margin back to an even 60 points.
And Ken Hinkley at half-time, he would have been talking about resetting this game. It was an atrocious first half from Port Adelaide. One of the things he would have been talking to his players about would have been winning this second half, showing greater effort, greater intensity, greater intent when you go to tackle. We saw so many Sydney Swans players just walk through tackles in the first half.
So, Jude, Gary Rowan's still out there. We know he's had hamstring problems in the middle of last year and early this season. As that back just starts to stiffen up, are the medical staff keeping a close eye?
Yeah, they are. They're just working a little bit. They've been working on him before that, but also there's an issue with Harry Cunningham, who's getting a knee checked out, a little bit of ice applied to that at the moment.
Westhoff tried to flick it over the top to Pittard, but Papley, 3-on-1 situation.
He can't run.
Forward looking for Rowan, and he too.
He's really struggling now,
struggling bad now, isn't he?
Yeah, he'll just rest deep forward. I think he'll just stay in the goal square from here.
Surely a risk for a guy who's got hamstring problems over the last 12 months, though. As that tightens up, that's going to affect his hamstrings.
We didn't start the season till round 9. He's gone more than a goal a game since, but problems at the moment for him. About the only problem Sydney have is Trengove taken down into the tackle. Mitchell to Kennedy, squeezes the kick out, touched off the boot. You could hear the umpire, Sam Gray, and also Pollock here on the left, down towards Butcher. Kicked the goal earlier, but's had a pretty quiet day as he tries to save his career at the moment. Still there with Lloyd, battle for it. Butcher again. Impey pinches it close to the line. Rampy, the consummate defender, will make sure he goes out over the line.
We've talked all game about the domination of Sydney. They've had 70 disposals inside their attacking 50 to Port Adelaide's 9 in the game so far, which is a great indication of the domination.
Westhoff joining in the ruck contest there as a third jumper. Kennedy goes for a low one, looking for Papley, misses a target.
Right in.
There's the contested possessions. We said at the start of the day, these two sides are the most contested teams in the competition. They force their opposition to win contested ball, but today it's all been one-way traffic, and that's where it's pretty much started and finished. The Swans have got it to the outside, and they've just torn Port apart when they've got some open space. Mitchell works Gray off the ball. Jack, quick kick inside 50. Papley lurking with intent. Pittard runs him down. Kennedy with strength protects the ball. Sam Gray goes at it. Kennedy's still in there. In the end, he's bustled over and out.
We've been talking a lot about Gary Rowan and the injury. This is the injury. There's the knee of Dixon there going into his right buttock, and that's why he's really struggling out there still at the moment to just run fluently.
Yeah, that happened in the first quarter. As Westhoff goes towards Wingard, and he marks at his own defensive 50.
Nick
Smith standing the mark as Wingard goes short, bare minimum distance to Pollock. So Jared Pollock at defensive 50. Hangs a long time for Archie. It allowed Aliir to just float across the contest. And the more we see of Aliir, the more impressed we are. Incredible story. And just settled into AFL football, Tim, as you mentioned, like he's been playing it for years.
It was like a Venus flytrap then. He actually just tempted the Port Adelaide player to kick the ball there. He was about 15-20 metres off the Port Adelaide player. Had no trouble at all making up that distance.
Nat Curvis involved his. Towers started the game brilliantly too. Kick. And free kick is going to go Sydney's way for being retarded as he's trying to break away, make the lead. So another opportunity here for goal number 13.
This is a really good mark there by Xavier Richards. Anyway, I mean, there's a free kick. Clearly, there's a hole. But this was the second part of it, and he actually marked that there. Xavier is a very good kick for goal.
Brother Ted just said to us at half-time that he wants to get back to try and get another game with Xavier before he wraps up his career at the end of the season. Blows it away to the right. Tim, you'd give him a big rap.
I set him up, didn't I?
Sure did.
Commentator's curse.
Margin at 61 points. Midway through this third term. Percentage so important for the Swans in their race for the top 4. Pittard. Butcher won't quite get there. Did enough to spoil Parker. Dixon got it to Boak. Now Wines. Dixon again, confronted by Hewitt and taken down, and Wines just crashes in. And Heath Grundy didn't appreciate that too much.
And Jude, we've been talking about the percentage build that the Sydney Swans need to undertake. Would John Longmire have spoken about that potentially to the players about not taking the foot off the pedal?
Yeah, he'd be just more about a ruthless attitude. Just keep the weight of inside 50s, keep your execution and focus on defence. But that would be front of mind for all the players out there.
So Franklin on the end of the quick kick inside 50. A chance to go back and kick goal number 3. Just inside the 50. Starts at left and it's not coming back. Way left. Misses the line.
61 points difference, 14 minutes gone in this third term. Stewart brings a big fly, came from Amon, but he's given away. Spectacular go at it, missed it by a fair way. Quick kick, and Richards will get another chance to atone for the miss he had moments ago. This one a little tougher, further out on an angle. Xavier Richards, third game on the trot, kicked a pair of goals in each of his past 2 games.
Boys, come on.
Right on 50. Across the face, Butcher, best position, and stands tall, takes the mark.
Back 2 minutes, please. Back here with me, please.
7 years on the Port Adelaide list, Butcher. Top 10 draft pick, just the 30 games, and his kicking has been maligned. That's an example there. Lloyd couldn't take it. Robbie Gray had some problems earlier, but seems to be moving a lot better now. Gives it to his skipper, Boak. He had absolutely no one up front to go for. He went for the line, and the umpire said, yep, it's deliberate.
And that is the correct decision.
So, for a very brief moment today, we talked about the Port structure actually trying to hold its position, but it's totally disappeared once again.
No, they've fallen apart again, with so many players just pushing up the field to try and defend. And then they just don't transition as quickly as what Sydney has been able to.
Canterbury to Mitchell, and here's Xavier Richards growing in confidence, presenting well, playing the role that Heaney played in the first half. Kick towards Parker, it's slapped away from him. Ebert, wrapped up by Josh Kennedy. Umpire will give him the benefit of the doubt.
Look at those tackling players too. Their best tacklers, the Sydney Swans, Parker, Mitchell, Jack Kennedy and Hanbury, all midfielders. They work hard on the spread. They're just as happy to work hard in the trenches.
Even third man up was ineffective. Josh Kennedy, quick kick towards the goal square. A little bit too much carry on it for Rowan. Defensive mark taken by Nathan Cracker. Shipped it short, needed to be precise, and it was to Austin.
Play on, not 15.
Goes to Stewart. Goes up the middle. It's okay to Boak, who can now work it to the outside, and Broadbent. Again, no great opportunity to sort of run and carry the football. Now Broadbent looks to create. He receives back from Westhoff. Kicks towards the wing. Sliding in was Archie. Couldn't complete the mark. Mills was bumped off the football. Mitchell, Nankervis in there. It's taken by Hewitt. Feeds it back to Grundy, who sells the dummy, buys himself some time and delivers up the middle of Nankervis. Now it opens up once again for Tom Mitchell. Can go for a run, go deep inside 50. Cracker read it best off the boot. He tracks back and marks at the top of his own defensive goal square.
Move it on, play on.
Nathan Cracker recovered from the broken jaw earlier in the season. Comes out towards Amon. Spectacular leap early. Was one-on-one there with Jack. 2 number 15s. This is Jack now. The kick is good. Just cut off. Terrific work by Logan Austin there, and he's going to pick up the free kick. Held not in possession.
Thank you. Clear it out, please. Clear it out. Hold.
So that ball was going to land on Xavier Richards' chest, then had Luke Parker not cut across in front of him. It was a beautiful kick.
Just the 9th game for Austin. Amon, Archie, is going to give the handball, held it, and once again goes forward. There's nothing there. Rampy battling with Impey. Have a look at Dane Rampy. What a performance. What a year he's having at the moment. Lloyd back, concedes some ground. All Swans at the moment. Smith.
Oh, play on.
Handball, plenty of time for Mills.
Out behind, play on.
Mitchell turning into a little bit of a procession now for Sydney. They've got numbers everywhere. Kennedy with the kick. Hanbury now running into an open goal. Sneaks it through, and Sydney have got 13 of them.
How easy was that, though, the way they just picked them apart from half-back? First of all, you got Port Adelaide just kicking the ball indiscriminately again to nobody in their front half. Not even being able to get a deep penetration with the ball. And that's been the story of the day. I mean, they've really struggled to get the ball inside their 50 to any meaningful position in their forward line. But then on the reverse, the Sydney Swans just had options galore when they attacked.
So, Tim, from a structural perspective, if you're a Port Adelaide fan screaming at the television right now, what can they do structurally to make sure that it isn't like a rugby kick and chase where you're just kicking it to no one and running after it?
Well, if they've got the numbers at one part of the ground, they've actually got to use them, and they've got to use the ball by hand. If they're coming off half-back, they can't just drop the ball off the way that they are and deliver it to nobody.
It's coming straight back with interest, time and time again, as Sam Gray soccers it off the ground. Parker turned his body cleverly, knew the contact was coming, protected himself, won the football, sizzles it inside 50. Pittard, the defensive fist, Austin threw it. It was a lovely tackle, it just pinned one arm. And the Swans playing the percentages, doing the basics so well this afternoon.
Let's go, mate.
And this time it's Papley.
Come on.
They're tackles that stick, aren't they? I mean, you're right. I mean, doing the basics. Basic thing is to tackle with intent. You wrap somebody up, or you'll force a turnover. And Sydney have done that all day.
So Papley from right on 50, directly in front, gives it a ride, but misses. So 1-2 to Tom Papley. Great debut season from him so far. He's kicked 16 goals from his 13 games.
Boys, not too many issues for the Swans, but Lance Franklin's off at the moment. He's got a little bit of ice on his right knee at the moment.
Trent Gove was a target with Dixon. Mills, terrific start to his AFL career as well. Goes to the top of 50, but read best by Pollock. He's got Sam Gray out wide, but opts for Pittard. He needs to be quick. Rowan with the chase brings him down, despite the fact that he's got a bit of a problem with the glute. Impey with the one hand thrusts it out. Mills back to Grundy, cut off by Wingard. Port Adelaide just trying to get some action forward. It's been a tough long day for them so far, and free kick's going to go Port Adelaide's way. Dixon will get it. Young about to take off, but no advantage. So big Charlie Dixon, somewhat of a surprise to return today after missing a couple of games. And have a look at that.
There's a Luke Parker errant elbow right into the face there of Chad Wingard.
Pittard on his left. Alir at the back. Defensively working well again. Pittard and Dixon going back with a fly. Great courage by Parker. He is enjoying a terrific match.
One thing in Parker's favour was that he wasn't even looking at Wingard when he collected him with that elbow. Just incidental contact. Not incidental if you're Chad Wingard's jaw, but Heaney will go inside 50.
Push. Port Adelaide.
It's going to Sam Gray. Interference in the marking contest.
Right on the mark. Play on. Still me.
As Gray goes short to Trengove and then receives it back. Trying to get something going off half-back. Aaron Young's his target. Good effort from Grundy. Once again, they read it so well in the air.
But, you know, then again, it was a real chase then from Papley. He just put enough pressure so that the ball didn't hit the target.
And not only the #1 team in the competition for contested possessions themselves, they're the #1 team in the competition for denying the opposition uncontested possessions, and that's what we've seen today. They just hunt everything down. They run down every lead. This is Jake Lloyd. Into the middle of the ground. Time for Alir to look at his options inside 50. Heaney's got a couple of beat. Ball at ground level. He's got such good balance. Heaney keeps his feet, eventually gets taken down. It's picked up by Parker. Snaps it back. It was right on line. It was a beautiful kick, just didn't quite have the distance. And Paul Stewart was there to take the mark on the very last line of defence.
Stewart finds Ebert inside, still the defensive 50. Called play on now. He's going to have to just chip across to maintain possession.
There's just no one forward of him here to kick the ball to. He's going to have to go long down the line.
Scott Stewart, if he wanted to come back across goals, decides to go down, as Tim suggested. Marked by Westhoff. Not the most memorable milestone game. He's steering a 68-point loss. Here they go. Here's Pittard. Can run through and looks up, holds onto it for a little while longer and gives the opportunity now for Kennedy to cut it off. And they had all those players there that Jude Bolt mentioned, held onto the ball for that long that Sydney were able to man up, and the ball's going to come back to Logan Austin at half forward. Pittard, another opportunity. Little kick over the top.
Oh, Young. He should have gone Young before. Young was on his own, and then he tried to pick off the more difficult kick across ground.
Here's Parker, just back into the wing.
Young gave him a fearful mouthful too.
Goes short to Hanbury. Again, they just got back into position so quickly then when it looked like they were outnumbered. They're so well drilled as a unit. Nice defensive effort there from Stewart. And it was interesting because Callum Mills had a choice. He had two men to cover, and rather than hanging back, he went forward and attacked. There's another look at that elbow from Parker to Wingard. What do you make of that?
No, I think you're right. I just think that his arm was there, Parker. I don't think there was any intent in that.
McVeigh taken down in the tackle. It's wrapped up. Is it coming out? No, it's not. As I was saying, Callum Mills had a choice, Tim. He either stays back or he confronts the kicker. He didn't even hesitate. He went forward, confronted the kicker, knowing that one of his teammates was going to push back into the hole and protect, and that's exactly what happened. It was brilliant defence off the ball from the Swans. Wines wins the football, spirals it towards 50. There's Mills going back with the flight. Ebert comes across, lays a bump. Once again, Mills wins the ball, gets it to Cunningham. Cunningham to Hanbury. A one-on-one on the wing. Cracker in front. Heaney with the defensive spoil at the back. Archie to Broadbent, wrapped up by Heaney. Ball spills free. Cracker runs over the top of it. Smith goes back one-on-one with Boak. Taken by Heaney. Polek. Little soccer from Kennedy. Ends up in the hands of Broadbent, who goes towards half forward. Butcher. Ball hit the ground. Play on the call. Gives it off to Archie. He runs to 48 metres. Goes for goal. And misses to the near side. It's been hard work for the Port Adelaide side all over the ground, but particularly forward of the centre today with just no fluency to talk from.
Well, they've had 23 inside 50s to 50, but a lot of those have been just shallow entries that really haven't resulted in any meaningful scoring opportunity.
Yeah, 23 forward 50s, Tim. 11 possessions inside 50. 11 out of 23, so 1 in 2, they get in there and they don't even touch the football.
Towers from half-back.
Damning stat, though.
Stewart with the target as well. Parker happy to fly. Nankervis. McVeigh looks up. Kick is good. Richards with the stretch. Couple of goes at it. Crucial slip at the wrong time by Burne-Jones, and Richards nails a goal.
Important from Xavier Richards' personal perspective, Tim, isn't it? That he gets some goals, makes hay while the sun's shining here, because he's got Tippett and Sinclair waiting in the wings. If you can kick goals, it makes you much harder to drop from the team.
Well, he's put his name up in lights. This is a really good kick here by McVeigh, though. He spots it's a one-on-one, just tries to kick it deep to Xavier's favoured side, and he's a great athlete, Xavier Richards. He's got great athletic ability, and he complements the other forward players really well because of his ability to really push hard up the ground and present.
Straight up at it.
Swans gaining 5% so far today.
Great set.
Picked up 6% last week, so it's been a huge boost for them in the past fortnight. Archie got some basketball skills there. Kennedy, the contested football beast, comes out with it. Jack, Hanbury, all the stars involved, and Hanbury long just blazes away and misses.
Just been watching Lance Franklin as well. It certainly is a nice tap down from Naismith and Kennedy, but Franklin hasn't got the ice on his knee anymore. They're warming that back up. They just haven't chosen an opportunity to get him back out.
Tringo got a poke in the eye there too.
And a couple of fingers up the nose, I reckon, as well. That was just about the grand slam. Westhoff.
We like Naismith, the fact that he can actually tap the ball, and now it means that they can be more proactive around the stoppages, the Sydney Swans, with guys that can actually palm the ball like that to their favoured side.
Well, everything's going to plan for the Swans this afternoon. They led by 41 at quarter time, 49 at half time, and as we turn for home at the SCG, they lead by 74 points on Saturday Arvo footy. .4 points the margin at three-quarter time. The Swans in control. Here's Jude.
Tom, just a couple of issues obviously on the bench with Cunningham's knee, obviously Franklin with the knee as well, and Gary Rowan with the buttock.
Yeah, just a couple of minor knocks. So they're all fine. They're all ready to go for this quarter. but obviously we'll monitor it as it goes through the quarter.
How important is it to be ruthless in this final term? You've kept Port Adelaide to just 9 disposals inside forward 50.
Yeah, really important. Not specifically mentioned, but as we know, this stage of the season, percentage is really important.
Good luck, mate.
They added 5 goals for to 1 goal 3 in the third term, Tim, to extend their lead from 49 to 74 at the final change.
Well, the average score against the Sydney Swans this year is 68.5 points, so you wouldn't think that Port Adelaide, on the evidence of the first 3 quarters, are going to get anywhere near that. So this may, in fact, turn out to be the Sydney Swans' most complete defensive performance of the year.
So we're almost set for the final term. There's Jackson Trengove. He's found the going pretty tough this afternoon against Nankervis and Naismith. They've both had 9 touches each. Trengove's had the 9, but the 2 youngsters have done well.
No, they've towed him up this afternoon, and they've been really good on the spread too. They've made sure that he hasn't been that player that's been out wide on his own and playing like a midfielder. They've really closed him down well.
Final term from the Sydney Cricket Ground. It's the Swans by 74 points. Naismith wins the tap, just lays it out in front of Kennedy, who goes deep inside 50. Broadbent first to track it back.
And that's all about confidence now in Naismith, the fact that they believe, the Sydney Swans midfielders are now starting to believe that this bloke's going to win the tap. So they're proactive in moving into a really attacking position, as we saw then with Kennedy.
They lock up again. Parker taken down. Good tackle from Polak. Had him by 1 arm, and he'll be rewarded holding the ball.
Pollock back in the side after a stint in the Sandful.
Now, play on.
With the reserves at Port Adelaide. He's got Cleary at centre-half back there, and Port Adelaide's biggest losing margin ever to Sydney was 68 points. That was back in round 208. Right now it stands at 74 points. Westhoff in the contest there comes out. Heaney, Towers, short. Franklin back on. Good to see. Towers caught by Westhoff. Gets the handball just in time. Jack down. Hanbury as well. Gives it off cleverly. Papley with the kick. Parker. Pollock. Parker off the ground. And Cleary content to see it over the line.
What about their ability to make the most of a half chance and kept the ball alive? It was grubby, but then they found finally that they actually got a clean handball, almost set up a goal-scoring chance.
Pittard short to the back pocket. Finds Logan Austin. Will go long. Dixon and Trengove his targets. Clears that contest, and over the back it's Hanbury to get back first. Trengove gets in on top of him. Coming in hard was Cracker, didn't take a body. Westhoff to Dixon, who was collected high by Naismith.
Up we get. Play on.
Moves it quickly to Cracker. Chips down the line to Eamon, who's got a man inside Polek. Goes to the outside and Boak. He's confronted by Cunningham. Tackle slip low, advantage paid. Cracker goes inside 50 to Wingard, and he takes it on the chest. 40 metres out.
Cunningham behind the play, again in the hands of the trainer.
He's really sore with that right knee. It's obviously got strapped with a little bit of a heat patch or something on the inside knee. He's copped another knock as on that tackle with Boak.
It's probably the best kick they've had all afternoon inside their attacking 52 for Adelaide.
So Chad Wingard kicked a couple of behinds in the third term. Its way, and it just fades right and collects the post. And sums up Port's day. 3 behinds to Wingard. Margin 74 points as McVeigh receives the kick in.
Leah provides support. Just tugging the line, holds up for a look and pops the kick. Towers from half back. Inboard, works his way through 3 Port Adelaide players with the kick. Ends up now with McVeigh. Spots up the kick, and Rowan. Hanbury just let Boak off there, and Ebert going to take it out over the line.
Yeah, there you see Dan Hanbury, Harry Cunningham just getting checked out. His right knee just on the inside. He's just had a bit of grief there.
Harry Cunningham looking to try and secure a spot in this side heading into September as the Swans' 7th consecutive finals campaign, club record coming up. Wines. Impey under pressure. Mitchell with the tackle, just a little late, but able to put him off. And Young sees the ball over the line. There's Cunningham there. Let's have a look at the injury. Just a twist there, Tim.
Yeah, a twist on a knee that was already sore. You would think that he'll play no further part in this game.
No advantage from the stoppage.
If there's any serious threat that he's going to worse, well, that knee injury is going to become worse.
Free kick to Parker for a hold. Parker averaging 27 touches a game. He's already up to 30 today, behind Hanbury on 31.
Now, play on.
Pithard has 25 for Port, most of those deep in his own defence. Kick towards Kennedy. Gray tidies it up, gets it to Wines, and now Boak. Boak to the wing, was looking for Eamon, tracks it back, Cracker comes across, lays a Shepherd and takes out Nick Smith, but the ball finds the line. Really tough day for the Port Adelaide forwards. Lots of unrewarded running as they push up the ground, and not a lot of easy ball coming their way. Parker, tackle came from Wines, dispossessed him, picked up by Cracker, goes inside 50. Young's got front position. Aliir at the back, suited by the bouncing ball. He takes it and goes. The athletic big man gives it off to Mitchell, who runs to defensive 50. Handball was an ambitious one to Kennedy. Allowed Ebert to wrap him up, but once again with strength they just keep the ball moving. Heaney looks to do exactly that. Eamon coming one way, Franklin the other. Eamon got there first and Franklin took him down. Preparedness for Sydney. Sure, to play some flashy outside football, Tim, but they just roll their sleeves up and they love the blue-collar stuff and they do it as well as anyone.
Swans lead contested possession 158 to 109. They're the #1 ranked team in the competition. No wonder. This is Towers running in from 40. Goal kicker in the first quarter puts it across the face and a dribble out over the line.
And they've been led by their midfielders again today. You look at the numbers that they've put up, and they're not just disposals. They work hard both ways. You know, Kennedy's had 25, Hanbury 32, Parker 31, Mitchell 26, Jack 18. I mean, it's a big engine they've got built here, Sydney.
Trent over Naismith. Papley taken down by Pithard. Ball rushed out. Still, the umpire lets it go. It's live. Parker. Wines. Gives to Pollock. Under pressure. Back to Wines. Hurries the kick. Wingard traps it well. Taken down. The umpire said it's all legal above board. Wingard again. Quick to respond. Oh, kick over the top. Grundy. Dixon had the chance to run onto it. Young, terrific, works his way out of it. And Boak. Mills under pressure, the youngster. First-year player, hasn't he fitted into this side magnificently well? And free kick, advantage paid. Grundy, half-back. Kick to Hanbury, one-on-one with Stewart. He infringes and the free kick, Hanbury.
So once again we see that Sydney scrambling defence when they look to be out of position. Somehow they managed to close it down and fight off the back foot.
And that was their youngest defender there too, Mills. He's just picked up the cue from his older, more experienced defenders. That's the way you play when you play for Sydney.
So Papley is it forward to the centre. Kicks towards Franklin. In from the side was Parker. At the front was Kennedy. Keeps it alive momentarily. Now it's out.
We sometimes overlook the great job that John Longmire's done in his time there too. This is his 6th year. Just having got Robbie Gray, this has been a miserable afternoon for him. I just wonder whether or not he's carrying some sort of an injury. He's had at least 10 possessions in his last 62 games, Robbie Gray.
Averages 27 a game this season, just 5 this afternoon. Swans attack the goal face again. Rowan off his hands. Minus score, but coming into today, Robbie Gray led the club, Port Adelaide, in disposals, contested possessions, inside 50s and score assists. So if you can take their main man and hold him to 5 touches, it's going to make life very, very difficult for that midfield. Ebert receives the kick in. Go over the top. Finds Impey in some space.
Once again, looks up. Not much there, so he's got to take it on. Couple of bounces. As comes in board. Terrific smother. Turnover here. Opportunity now. Gray back onto it. This is Sam, and kick to Archie. Finds him.
Yeah, Brendan Archie just slipped on from the sidelines. He got in behind the defence there, and just great vision there from Sam Gray to just square that one up.
Robbie Gray was a little proppy in that first half as well. We saw he did get a knock earlier in the game, and it's really hindered him with those 5 possessions.
I mean, he's just way down on his normal output.
Archie's kick 2-6 for the season. Make that 2-7 as he blazes away.
Just getting back to Johnny Longmire, though, they've extended his contract, and what a coaching career he's already had at the Sydney Swans. First year, 13 wins, then 19, 16, 19, 16, and they're up to 14 wins today. So, I mean, that's an extraordinary period of time that he's been there, and the level of consistency under him.
This team just hasn't ever really dropped away. Back from the mid-2000s when they were in grand finals and winning premierships, they haven't dropped back to the bottom of the ladder. It's considered by many as a luxury you just can't afford in this market. They've managed to build a system and bring the right talent in here that has just kept them competitive for more than a decade. Hanbury, now McVeigh, just toe poke to his own advantage, but taken down by Westhoff. Heaney swings onto his left boot and finds Hanbury on the wing. He has a fumble. Burne-Jones closes in, so he flips it inboard to Parker. Parker went looking for McVeigh. It was picked off by Westhoff. Westhoff towards half forward. Young slides in and takes the mark.
Hold there, angle.
Dixon's tracking back towards the goal square, as you can see. Now he presents, heads in that direction. Couldn't quite take the mark with strength, just bustles Heaney out of the way. But once again, numbers there for the Swans to make life difficult for those Port Adelaide forwards.
Look, it hasn't been the only reason they've lost this game, but they were out of balance in their forward line with Butcher, Westhoff and also Dixon today. They didn't get enough balls to play at any stage, but they did look top heavy.
Nankervis to Aaliyah, goes inboard to Mitchell. Now Mills, handball hangs a while for Grundy. Pressured by Archie, but got the hands free and released it to Mitchell. And now goes back to Grundy, and once again they just go up and down on the spot, retain possession till an option presents itself. No panic despite being deep in defence, and this is Nick Smith.
2014 All-Australian goes long, good body work. Richards trying to cement that spot into the side, as we know with Tippett. Not far away, perhaps only a couple of weeks away. Pittard.
Yep, you got it.
Across to Logan Austin with Heaney just closing him down.
Isaac, thank you. Play on.
Contested possessions now 168 to 114.
Stewart.
That's a maul.
Towers. It's been terrific. Chance now for the Swans again. Kick from Jack. Leap from Rowan, couldn't complete it. Stewart again now. And Port Adelaide through Ebert, the former vice-captain. Little chip in. Follows up. Cracker. Around on the right. Dixon working with Rampy, the bigger man, pushed out of the way by Rampy. The composure of the defence. Talked about Mills, you talk about Grundy with the ball now. Rampy and Hewitt here. It is just terrific. No wonder they keep teams on an average down to 68 here at the SCG at 63 in Port Adelaide right now. 3 goals, just 26 points. Papley, strong hands.
Takes it on the juggle in front of Butcher.
Move it on. Play on.
Kicks it right to the wing. Here comes Heaney to present again. He flies. He just crunches Paul Stewart. Forces the crumb, which is gathered by McVeigh. Gives it to Parker. His handball missed Richards. Coming in the other direction. The Swans keep it alive from Kennedy to McVeigh. He can now square it up for Smith. Will gather, look up, go towards the square. Heaney was alone, but was well read by Broadbent. He picks it off. Gives it to Cleary. He's had the job most of the day on Franklin. Lance Franklin with just the 2 goals won. The Swans have spread the load. That's been the story of their attack. They've got 4 guys with 2 goals apiece. And that pretty much sums it up today with Heaney, Rowan, Franklin and Xavier Richards all contributing multiple goals.
Jason, it's not that long ago, though, we were talking about the Port Adelaide side being the hardest running side in the competition. It's just disappeared. They've been outworked totally today by the Sydney Swans.
They have from the start. It hasn't even necessarily been about endurance. In the first quarter, Swans ran them off their feet. Wines, Westhoff, quick kick. Picked off once again. Nankervis to Aaliyah. It's always an option presenting for Sydney. When you get the football, you know there's teammates around to deliver it to, and Mills gives it to Mitchell. Once again, finds a man in some space. They pick the holes well. That was Rampy. Dixon did well to get across and force a contest, then wins it at ground level, gets it to Wines, did well. Now Westhoff to Cracker. He flips it over the top. Wingard will look up. He's got Gray inside 50. He's just got a couple of metres on Mitchell, and that's all he needed. Gray turns around, not confident of the journey from there, so he gains a bit of territory and finds Nathan Cracker 40 metres out, slight angle.
Well, it's always been Robbie Gray's strong suit, and that is his delivery and his ability to see everybody and position the ball in the right spot.
Thank you.
There he is, just getting off Tommy Mitchell, surveying his options and then just poking the ball into a space there in front of Cracker.
He's quick of mind and decision, isn't he? He's decisive with ball in hand. He knew immediately it was outside his range. Looked for an option. Cracker was there to provide one, and he provides the goal as well. So Port get their fourth. Nathan Cracker gets his third of the season. The margin back to 68 points.
He's just been trying to find a winning combination today, Ken Hinkley. Nothing has really gone right for him. Cracker starting the game at the other end of the ground.
Well, Sydney, this is what confronts them over the next 3 weeks in the build-up to the finals. St Kilda at Etihad, then they go down to Tassie to take on the Kangaroos and finish right here at the SCG, where their record is going to be 8-2 after today against Richmond. Rampy leads out, leaves his man in Cracker, takes them on. Grundy and Westhoff sees it out over the line. Port Adelaide on target right now for their lowest score ever against Sydney. 41 points, the first time they ever met in 1997. They only kicked 4 goals that day, and Tim Scotty Cummings kicked 3 of those 4. The big man.
A little bit bigger now too.
He's a big man, and here's a man with some big thighs in Wines. Goes top of the square. Dixon presented, couldn't take it. Clever work by Rampy, takes it in mid-air and in the one movement gives it to Cunningham, who struggled a bit with injury, but manfully is going on. Towers pushes Gray out of the way. It's Sam Gray. Towers follows up. Franklin going back against Cleary. He's had his hands full, Cleary. He's done a reasonable job with just those 2 goals on Franklin, and free kick around the shoulder. It's going to be taken by Jarman Impey.
They've had 10 goal kickers, the Sydney Swans, so they've spread their attack. And I mean, Buddy's played his role, but he probably eyed a bag of goals today. They haven't come.
Just under 7 minutes for Port Adelaide before their nightmare's over. The slimmest of finals hopes they had have been snuffed out by this Sydney outfit. Grundy missed Parker. Good work by Burn-Jones. Body on body, 2 hard nuts at it. Archie, Burn-Jones, that was smothered by Parker again. He's been enormous today. Pollock, Archie into the direction of Cracker, overruns it. Archie again, and see it out over the line with pressure from Cunningham.
Gary Rowan will take no further part in the game, boys. He's got his right hip on ice now.
So those numbers tell a very clear story. There's Gary Rowan. It's been a domination. Pretty much the opening bounce this afternoon. Here's Kennedy, still hungry for more, gives it to McVeigh. He's got a couple of runners on the outside. Taking off and working hard is Jake Lloyd. Gets a kind bounce, can look up and go towards Richards. Kick was a bit of a floater. It opened the door for Stewart. He kicks it out of mid-air, then tries to follow it up. Manages to get it to his skipper. He goes inside to Pittard. Pittard goes down the line. The lead comes from Young, who gathered nicely on the half volley. Gives it off to Wingard. Wingard will go towards Dixon. Too much on the kick. Grundy back's got some support in the form of Cunningham, and he slaps it to the voice. Cunningham goes to Lloyd.
But support and options, there are 2 things that they've had all afternoon, the Sydney Swans. When Jared McVeigh broke through the centre of the ground before, he had 3 options to choose from. I reckon most of the afternoon, when a Port Adelaide player has broken, they've had maybe 1 clear option to go to, but they haven't had the multiple options.
How much of that structure and how much is work rate, Tim?
I think a lot of it has been work rate today. And I think you can attribute that to the fact that they've been soundly beaten around the stoppages. There hasn't been a willingness really to put their shoulder to the wheel today.
Certainly have been.
That will be the most disappointing thing, to come out of this game for Ken Hinkley, the fact that the players just didn't turn up to play the way that he wants them to play.
Quick kick from that stoppage towards 50. Dixon pitches just in front of him. Grundy will trot away. Thought about the kick. Instead went by hand to Parker. He chips it wide. Once again, options on offer. This is Kennedy.
Kennedy coming off 35, possession number 28. Canterbury and Parker lead with 35 each so far in this game. Wingard taking down Dixon. Just checks the kick. Spotted Cracker out the corner of his eye. Goal kicker in the last quarter blazes away, and surprise, surprise, no one at home for Port Adelaide. So Dane Rampy, enough time just to hold up, assess the situation. Heaney started the game terrifically well early on.
We talk about playing a role, Tim. Dane Rampy, he's a #1 rebound 50 player. He's had 116 coming in today. The next two best, McVeigh and Grundy, with 55 each, more than double. Averages 18 touches a game. What's he had today? 18. Just does his role every week.
How valuable has he become?
Parker slung in the tackle by Impey. Wines with Kennedy over the top there.
And when he came to the Sydney Swans, he was a midfielder, and it really was only the injury to Alex Johnson that forced them to have a rethink about the way that they were going to play him.
So composed in defence, Rampy, Kennedy, Parker, Mitchell, Lloyd. Recovered well from that knock from Dawson last week, even on the 6-day turnaround. Composure again in defence as Mitchell finds Kennedy at half-back.
Don't go forward.
4 minutes left.
Sorry, Sliders, he'll end up with his 30 as well. He's on 29 now.
He's got it now, so that is 30 in 5 of his last 6 games, 30 plus.
It's like a training job now.
Cunningham, centre of the ground, presented by Richards. He's had some good moments today, Tim.
Yeah, no, I've been really impressed with his work.
Kick from Papley into the direction of Heaney. Little push off there from Ebert. Battled manfully over the past couple of weeks, but just been overwhelmed today by this Sydney machine. Heaney on his left, hurried kick. Burn-Jones with the fist is so this opportunity for Port Adelaide. Squeezes a little kick, and Papley takes it out over the line.
I'll be right in saying that Burn-Jones would probably be one of the greatest highlights for Port Adelaide this year.
Absolutely. Despite today Trengove not being fantastic, but Trengove into the ruck has been a shining light, and Burn-Jones made his debut in round 3, held his spot the whole time, so he has been a good find for them this year after 3 years on the list.
Yeah, spent the first couple of years in the SANFL just bulking up and learning his trade. Good nickname.
Too.
Ken Hinkley gave him the nickname Hank out of Me, Myself and Irene, because he says he's like got a split personality between on the field and off the field. On the field he's so rugged, and then off the field he's so quiet. Known as Hank. Parker to Hanbury. Nankervis looks for Jack. Grits his teeth, wins the football. Pumps it back inside 50 once again. Big hit there on Papley. Play on the call as Gray's taken to the line by Mitchell.
Even the Sydney Swans' indiscriminate handballs generally hit the target, don't they? They handball when they're under pressure, when they're tackled, to where they think somebody should be, and generally today in particular there's been somebody there waiting. They have a great understanding of the way each and every one of them plays.
There's a great chemistry, isn't there, between this combination at both ends of the field. And Curvis tried to get it to Hewitt. His tackle was way too high. Free kick will go to Sam Gray.
Not much energy now in Port Adelaide's spreading either.
Runs it off 50, gives it to Impey. Impey's flat-footed, so looks to bring it inboard. It was a bold kick, wasn't it? And it would have been great, except Trengove dropped it. Put himself under some pressure, but Cracker was there to support. Goes to Archie. He's got Smith to beat and does just that. So Archie has got Eamon inside 50. Kick was touched off the mark. Boak, Cracker. Tackle came from Hanbury. Here's Polek. Back to Boak. Archie still lingering near the boundary line. And he's got it again, right on 50. He'll square it up, but it was a shank off the boot. And tidied up by Harry Cunningham.
Sums up the day for Port Adelaide. Just entries into forward. 50. Just no efficiency, no momentum, and it was Sydney right from the start when they just came out of the blocks and blew Port Adelaide out of the water in that first term. They needed percentage with GWS on the same number of points, and they had 142%. Sydney with Parker working hard. Burne-Jones, Pittard along the boundary line. Still alive here for the moment, Port. Broadbent runs into trouble, has to head back to the skipper, Boak. Play on. He spots Pollock in the centre of the ground, closed down by Hanbury, loses his footing, was about to head off. Now he goes on the left, lead, and kicks a good one taken by Wingard.
His 19th disposal, Chad. Hasn't been their worst player, and kicked 3 behinds. He actually has he's slaughtered the ball a little bit when he's had the opportunity to kick a goal, Chad.
Running at 44% today, efficiency. 37 goals for the elites. Port Adelaide from 40 out. You could just see by the reaction, not happy about it at all. And Port Adelaide, well, 41 was that lowest score of all time against Sydney, and inching a little bit closer, but with only 33 seconds to go. They're not going to get anywhere near there.
Callum Mills, another one of these young guns who's just slotted into this lineup seamlessly. Kicks it long to Parker. He marks in front of Stewart. So maybe time for one more. We've spoken about the importance of percentage. He's going to need to move it on quickly, and it looks like the moment may be lost as we tick under 10 seconds. Parker's been called to go, but not being confronted, so happy to just hold the football. Delivers it to Lloyd, who'll have the last kick of the afternoon on what's been a fantastic performance from the Sydney Swans. They dismantled Port Adelaide from the opening bounce, opened up a huge quarter-time lead, and then cruised to a 67-point win. So just one goal in the final term. It went to Port Adelaide. They kicked 1-3. The Swans just 2 behinds, but the queue was well and truly in the rack by then, Tim. And it wasn't necessarily they stopped trying, the Swans, but they just had the game under control.
Yeah, they cruised in there, didn't they? They set this game up with that big lead at quarter time, 41 points. And by half-time, they're up by 49 points. And it was a comprehensive performance, but they just took the pedal off the gas a little bit in that last quarter.
Here's Jude with Dan Hanbury. 36 possessions, 8 inside 50s and a goal.
36 possessions today for you, mate. After 41 possessions last week, you've been in rare touch.
Yeah, it's getting my breath. Well, it's great to be able to reel off back-to-back wins. I think as midfielders, we knew what we were coming up against. They're a quality midfield. I mean, it's where it's won and lost every week, and we respect their mids really like a lot, and it's important for Joey, Parksy, myself and all the boys to make sure we got on top in that area.
You must be really pleased with the work, I guess, from Sam Naismith and Toby Nankervis without your 2 established ruckmen in there.
Yeah, definitely. I think Naismith's, we know what he's capable of. He's come in after being injured, and he's played that role beautifully with that Tibbo in there. And the way Toby competes, it's a great mix. Throwing young fellas, but they're really creating a statement and helping us win those clearances in there.
You set up really well defensively behind the footy. 8 goals, 9 from turnovers today. It was a really comprehensive performance, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I mean, I think we were a bit disappointed with our inaccuracy, and a couple of times probably didn't pull the trigger. That's what we want to keep working on, especially when it got drier. But we'll keep trying to improve every week, and it's an important last 3 weeks for the boys.
Yeah, last 3 weeks, obviously, you've secured it next week. It's important to maintain that ruthless attitude, isn't it?
Oh, no doubt. I mean, every team on their day is a chance. We saw St Kilda put an informed team a couple of weeks ago at the competition. So we go down to Melbourne next week, prepare really well, and face a really quality opposition at their home ground.
Great work, Hannes.
Thanks, mate.
Well, great performance by Dan Hanbury, 36 touches, and Timmy had some mates there. Parker 39, Kennedy 30, Mitchell 32. It is the gold standard of midfields in this competition.
Yeah, coming into this game, you thought that's where Port Adelaide had to match them, and they weren't able to do that. I really think, though, you look at the next 3 weeks, they've got St Kilda, North Richmond. I think John Longmire would be hoping that they get a better test than what they received last week against Fremantle, what they received today against Port Adelaide, because that doesn't put any pressure on your game at all.
Of those matches there, of course, St Kilda next week. Then North Melbourne down in Tasmania. Some talk that Tippett could be back there. Would you bring him back if he's okay to head down for that match?
I think you've got to try and play him as often as you possibly can in the lead up to the finals.
Tough matches there, 3 of them. Well, you would think that they probably win 3 of them. Tim?
I think so. I think that game against North Melbourne will probably be the toughest of those 3 games. But you do want to have a little bit of a stress test for what it is that you're doing at the moment. I mean, everything was just too easy for them today. It was too easy for them last week. They've gone on their winning way. They've picked up some percentage, and that's going to give them a great chance to finish top 2, top 4 at the completion of the home and away season.
27 possessions for one of their skippers today, Jared McVeigh. Here he is with Jude.
Yeah, Mac, obviously it's been a really comprehensive performance today from the boys. It's a really complete performance.
Yeah, I mean, that first half was outstanding. I mean, the boys, the pressure, both sides of the footy was fantastic. And in the second half, we probably missed a few shots on goal, but yeah, really good performance from the boys.
7 debutants this season. What's been about this, I guess, structure that's made them fit in so well?
Oh, I mean, the pre-season they all put in. Put the stepping stones in place for them, and they're fitting in beautifully. I think the core midfield boys of Joey and Parks and Anders have played at a high level all year, and they're just tacking on the end of them. And the performance of those boys today was great again.
You almost doubled their inside 50s today. It was just preyed on turnover and that work from I guess stoppages as well.
Yeah, look, we know how they wanted to use the footy, so you've got to take it away from them. And we did that, I thought, beautifully all day, and they were going sideways a lot, which you want. And, that forces pressure in the end.
And how's your own body heading towards finals?
I feel a lot better today, definitely. When you're running, when you're up by 60 odd, it's a bit easier.
Run across the ground a bit easier.
Yeah, hunting a goal.
Good luck, mate.
So there you go, a 67-point victory to the Sydney Swans. Not scoring a goal in the last quarter. Quite remarkable in some ways, only scoring 2 behinds, but it has made a huge difference, their percentage. Jumping up, we'll have a look at the ladder at the moment, by 4.2% by today's win. The 4th lowest score ever by a Port Adelaide side. So a disappointing afternoon of the footy for Port Adelaide. The Sydney Swans, with the game done now, jump up into 2nd spot, which sets up our next game, GWS versus the Gold Coast. As you can see, 2.2% difference now, and that was basically the margin before the game, with the Swans underneath the Giants. Now 144.2, so a big day for the Sydney Swans. Could have actually, really lifted up a little bit more had they put them to the sword in the last quarter, but they'll be pretty happy walking out of that game with 67-point victory and a percentage jump. So 144.2. Of course, the other game that's still going at the moment, where the Demons lead by a goal at 3/4 time, makes it very interesting for Hawthorn at the top of the ladder as well. So still plenty of ramifications coming out of today's round of football for the final composition of the top 8. All right, as we go to the break, and we'll come back with the highlights of Sydney and Port Adelaide and have a look at the other games. Let's have a look at what's coming up on Monday night. Mike Sheehan, as always, on Open Mike. He's got 2 champions of the game. Mark Murphy, the Carlton captain, and his father, John Murphy, the 5-time Fitzroy best and fairest and one of the great players of the 60s and the 70s.
You saw a distinct difference between Fitzroy and the merged entity of the Brisbane
I don't
Lions.
see Brisbane as Fitzroy at all.
You don't?
No, unfortunately. We tried to. I tried to get that way. In fact, I took the 3 boys to their first grand final, hoping that would mean something really to me. This is before Mark even thinking about playing footy, but it didn't. So.
But some others have embraced it, haven't they?
Oh, yeah, good luck to them.
I mean, blokes that you played with.
I'm pleased for them, the players, and Arthur Wilson, a very close friend of mine, and, they love Brisbane Football Club, and that's great. But to me, and probably thousands of others, Fitzroy was no longer in existence.
You thought it died in the last game in Melbourne?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the song just about summed it all up. The Swans just going through the motions today, kicking 2 points in the final term, but still winning by a handy 67 points. As you can see the score on the screen there, 100 to 33, 14-16, 100, 4-9-33, Port Adelaide's 4th lowest score. Goal kickers, no one really stood out. Franklin kicked a couple, including the first of the game. Xavier Richards and Gary Rowan getting a couple as well. And the Port Adelaide side just couldn't find any targets up forward whatsoever. Parker with 39, another sensational performance. Let's have a look at the highlights. As I mentioned, Buddy kicked the first of the day to get things going nice and early.
Great start for the Swans.
Another turnover. This time Travis Boak sort of summed up the day for Port Adelaide. Even the good players were having a nightmare. And Tom Papley was able to kick the goal. And the Swans led by 41 points at quarter time. It took until 10 minutes and 3/4 minutes into the second term for Port to finally get a goal. Robbie Gray snapped. It was 54-6 at this stage. 10 3/4 minutes into the second term. Aaron Young turned another one over. Dane Rampy kicks the goal. And it was the Swans by 49 points at half-time.
That's a fantastic goal.
Third quarter, George Hewitt hand passes to Josh Kennedy. Open goal. 5th game in a row where Kennedy has scored a goal, so he's doing what all good midfielders should do, and that is get amongst the goal kickers.
Gives it back to Hewitt. Hewitt to Kennedy, and he gets the opening goal of
Xavier
the
Richards against Darcy Byrne-Jones, keeps his feet, and Xavier kicks his second. Of course, his big brother Ted announcing during the week that he'd finish up at the end of 2016. There have been two wonderful players, the Richards boys for the Sydney Swans. Xavier showing his stuff. Swans by 70 points at 3/4 time, 74 points at 3/4 time. Final margin 67 points at the final term, but it has meant that they have jumped up to 144.2 and second on the ladder, with GWS to play 2 percentage points behind them on the ladder at the moment.
When you're about to have a shot for goal.
That was an extraordinary grab from Jeremy Cameron.
Just used his body to shield the ball, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he's hit his head reasonably hard on the deck as he's gone to ground. Let's have a look here. He slides in. Yeah, hits his head.
Nothing that Rory Thompson did. I don't know what Devon
Smith's arced up.
Arguing about.
Rory Thompson just trying to see how he was.
Showing great care and concern for Jeremy Cameron, who has 2 goals. And now he has 3. And we're level again.
And as he did in the third quarter, gets the Giants off to a really good start. They needed that, no doubt about it. But a nice pass in. That's such clean hands.
He picked that in the hands.
Yeah, that's right. It hasn't hit the forearms and dragged in for a chest mark. That was very much in the palms, and great grab, and had the composure after hitting his head to still kick the ball 50 metres straight through.
7th time during this game, scores are level. Cameron now has 3 goals, equal with Tom Lynch as far as goals on the ground is concerned. In the middle again, who's followed? Oh, Cornelio digging in hard. Whitfield in the line of fire, and Thompson that time showing no mercy, wraps him up. And a free kick. Mumford. Handball from Shaw. Schoenfeld scooting after it. He knew exactly where Harbrow was. That was well worked. That didn't quite have enough depth on the kick, but it ends okay. And again, they're taking it on, and Harbrow up and scampering away and keeping it low for Archie. And Williams gave him a bit of treatment. No 50.
Oh, great. Oh, lucky. Gee, he did well, Tom Scully.
He did. And Tom Scully was in the contest across half-back.
Oh, Patton. They came for him. Kolajasny. Haynes. It's tense at the moment, 40 metres out from goal. Thompson treads warily, knew what was around him. Himmelberg back to the wing. Now the pressure goes back onto the Suns. May got the accommodating bounce, and they're away through Miller. He turns and kicks it deep, probing ball. They fire from all angles. And there's some interference, I think, on Williams, who got crushed.
He got a knee in the back of the head, I reckon.
Free goes to Lobb by the look of it.
I think he was just paid the mark there, guys. That was a great grab.
Well, I think it was Lobb's knee in the back of Williams.
Oh, he's
sore. Have a look here, big jump. Oh no, Grant crunched him.
And then right to copped him on the head.
And it was a clean mark.
Oh, Stevie Johnson's getting a bit feisty here.
And it's out of bounds.
Same bloke sledging again. At least he keeps it clean.
That's right.
That did look like a throw from here. Devon Smith. from the ground. He's looking in great nick at the moment. Ball back into play with Mumford. Nichols. Ward. It's retarded, says the umpire. So the free kick goes the way of the co-captain. He's off and wants to handball to Kelly and to his left side. Guiding ball. Green's got to fly here, and fly he does. Harbrow has been damaging in his own way. The ball's out of bounds.
Had one intention, Harbrow. That was to find the boundary, and he did it well.
Did it well without looking too deliberate.
Early stages of this final term. Nichols, Rose of the same tactics. Back for Davis. Been crafty, been good. Archie also played his role. Davis thuds it to half forward. And the Davis of the Giants was on guard.
Well, he could get paid there. No, it doesn't.
They've softened on the deliberate out of bounds in the last couple of weeks.
There's no doubt that was deliberate.
Scores are level. 6 minutes into the final term. Shaw. Could go anywhere. Lynch has read this well. Didn't mark. Grant with good intent. Flashing through now. Kelly's taken with Sharon in hand over the line.
Here's the Phil Davis deliberate out of bounds. He hit it first time towards the boundary line and then sort of fake dummy. No intention of handballing that one anyway.
Kelly, sleight of hand. Ward trapped along the line. Kept in, well, sort of kept in by Lemons. I don't think he was going to pay.
Oh, he changed his mind. He was about to call, dropping the ball.
The trigger there, ready to pull. Wasn't literally a line ball one, wasn't it? As Nichols stripped of it. Canelio once, twice. Griffin gets it out. Eventually it's Wilson. Shapes it high to half forward. Patton engaging with Thompson, backing back lob. No, Lemons crunch straight into Stevie J. And from the other side, Cameron. Yes. Between 17 and 18 there. 7 minutes gone, and still it is tight. Miller had to go for the ruck. Scully. Whitfield didn't bother waiting. Just jammed it and got it long. Gave Patton and lob flies at it. May handball in hope more than anything. Harbrow zigzag under the right boot. They probably weren't expecting that. You can see what he's manufactured. It's all Giants there, although they fight a bit amongst themselves. Griffin almost could have been holding the ball. Rosa, and they dispatch of it now out of defence. Rosa again. Miller on the overlap. Not a lot on offer. It's a waiting game. Matera, they're gaining ground all the time. Garlett now on the run. Puts it for Lynch, and he'll get it. Yes, he will.
Great build-up.
That is as clever as you'll see from half-back, with a chain of hand passes. A draw and give, and every hand pass hit the mark. Particularly that last one from Matera had to be a perfect handball, and it was. And the ball ends up with Lynch. He won't make the mistake of passing this one off.
Great build-up, and mostly inexperienced players in that chain.
So Lynch eyeing off his 4th goal here. What a crucial kick this is. And he knows it, to put them back in front. And he has willed it home. What a performance this is from the Suns. This is the sort of stirring performance the clubs are built on. And there's a long way to go in this final term, but there is the sense of something very special tonight here at Metricon Stadium, and you very well know that that's a very special player.
And here's the score launches for the Gold Coast Suns, and they've just been able to turn the ball over from their defensive half and run and drive the ball in and kick goals. 19 score launches from the back half, first class.
4 goals for Tom Lynch, 61 for the season now. He's well and truly in contention for the Coleman medal, but his mind is not on individual honours right now. His team find themselves against all odds in front, leading by 6. And the Giants know they are in for a fight here. And they hadn't realised that by three-quarter time. They know now. Mumford trying to get them going. Kelly to centre half forward, but not beyond. Again, the Suns are getting in good spots, although not the most convincing of ways out from Joyce, but gets it to Harbrow, who's led the way. So too Martin's been critical. Down the line, one going back, one going forward. Wright couldn't mark. Mumford, Shaw, changing his mind. Lobb had to find someone. It was there for Johnson. Ooh. He put a target on the back of Wilson, and they were happy to oblige the Suns. They run him down. Shaw with a quick kick, and that's gutsy stuff from Williams, the man who was knocked down before. Swings it wide to half-back. Bit of a challenge there. And young Schoenfeld does well against Scully. Now Jared Grant a glimpse. Back to Schoenfeld. One more handball and they're a chance. Garlett is still in it. Quick kick away though is a good kick from Patfull into the middle of the ground. Cornelio has been their outstanding midfielder. Green knew what was coming. Got through the tackle. And now the handball into the 50. Stevie J. He's confronted by Martin. And took no chances. It was good play by the experienced Johnson that time. Nothing fancy, just a little kick of all of about 14.5 metres.
It went the bare margin.
Good work from Toby Green. Stephen May had the crosshairs on him and came in and hit him.
Just went him too high.
Yeah, that's right. Just missed him. Green was able to get out.
Left foot round the corner.
And is it straight? No.
Talk us through that, Jason.
We're seeing a lot of it, Lynchy. We just have to accept that this is the modern game.
You might have another new beef, I think, this week, James.
Players on a 45-degree angle, 30 metres out, don't have the confidence and the ability to kick a drop punt, and they will kick it. He kicked that round the corner on his opposite foot.
And that's what we saw from Joe Danaher 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
It's a mental thing. Don't want to soak up the pressure to go back and take that set shot. It's extraordinary.
Martin back to the wing, and good effort. Lunging mark taken by Tomlinson.
They must practice the round the corner kicks a lot though, because to do that in preference to a drop punt means you must be confident you're going to kick it. Whether they have better conversion like that, it remains to be seen, doesn't it?
Well, you're mentally shot if you're not prepared to kick a drop punt 35 metres.
And someone like Devon Smith is a beautiful kick at the footy.
Beautiful kick.
And if you're a forward, that's your craft, kicking goals. So at the end of the day, I don't care how you kick it. Just kick it. Make sure you kick the goal.
Davis from half forward. Lob comes at the ball. Drops a bit short. And in the end, Kelly found himself in the frame. Can't take the mark. And still they trail.
The interesting thing is, if they ever have to kick it after the siren, they don't have the option of kicking it around the corner because you can't run off the mark.
Swatted down by Mumford. Doesn't come to much. Matera under the pump. They all just pile in. The numbers multiply. They're getting a little antsy, the Giants here.
Well, they'll be getting antsy and very nervous. This game's just slipping away with 10 minutes to go.
Mumford. Griffin, they try and get the best shot away. Williams, not a bad effort. That's about it. It's a behind. They inch a little closer, get to 4 points. They only just got there on the full, but it did get there. Now Peter Wright has to try and sum it up and take the right option. So they put the defensive zone on here, try to really put the squeeze on.
And the fans get a little nervous when they start. Little cute chip passes.
Goes the middling kick from Lemons, at least got it out of the defensive 50 and got it near Tom Lynch, so no damage done, it's out of bounds. And we're down to the last 10 minutes and still Rodney Ead's team are in front. Nichols poked it down. Mumford had some of his own treatment there in the middle of a tackle. Disarmed, and the ball goes Martin's way and dropped by Lynch that time. On the wing, Matera, head down, Hallahan over the top. Garland tries to back out of the pack. Wilson the next to field a heat, and there's plenty of it out there. Wilson, Rosa, Davis all tangling. Mumford took front position. He's on the same wavelength that time as Whitfield. Streaming forward with a couple. And another. Approaches the 50. It's all about the delivery, and it wasn't flash. May. Excellent anticipation.
Well, this is the most disposals Stephen May's ever had. 2 weeks ago he had 24 against Freo, but he's eclipsed that tonight.
That hurts. Innocent marks, sometimes they're just not getting the contest from the talls. On that occasion, the injured Nichols again.
Short for Cornelio on his left side. It's not bad. Green has a metre on right, preserves that as he gets close to the line, heaves it in. Tough one, shunted that time. It was Himmelberg. Play on the call, and here they go again. Harbrow, Martin, scamper through halfback right. The ball got stuck for a moment. Lemons back out onto the wing, and that was easy fodder for Davis.
Nothing he could do.
Oh, he's missed the target though. Over Williams' head. Maybe they can get something more productive this time, the Suns, as they group off halfback. The experienced Rosa.
They're still set up well behind the ball, GWS. That's why Rosa couldn't go forward, had to chip it sideways.
Down to 8 minutes now remaining. May back in short. Kolodjasny. Where to? The boundary line. Playing it safe. Hallahan and Scully. Both in the end had the same intention.
You've seen more of the Suns than probably any of us, didn't you? Cade Kolodjasny, what sort of years he had?
Sluggish. He just dropped off a little bit after being so impressive in his first couple of seasons.
Yeah.
But yeah, hasn't got the same run off halfback, so not his best season.
We've got some really bad cramp down here, guys. You cannot get back up Hallahan at the moment.
He's worked hard, Mitch Hallahan.
And he's run himself into the ground,
and been
hasn't he?
smashed by everybody.
Yes. Late 5 tackles, kicked a goal, 19 disposals. Holding the ball.
Not sure he was held when he dropped that either.
That's right, you only got a touch on it.
And coming off.
Wants to change direction, no options.
Matera now preserving a very slender 4-point advantage here.
He's hobbling off, but he actually led for the ball then, Hallahan.
Up to the wing. Haynes flew. Tomlinson, Suns all around him. One of them was Miller. Back over the chalk. 7:25.
It's been a tight last quarter. 7-6 in favour of Gold Coast for inside 50s, and they're +3 in disposals, so pretty tight across the field.
Bob